Welcome in, one and all, on a Monday, Green and Gold Monday, a Packers track down Monday for, well, let's be honest, we got it going on tonight. Monday Night Football, Packers, Eagles. Packers trying to snap a 3-game losing streak to the Philadelphia Eagles. They have not beat the Eagles going all the way back to December 6th of 2020. Packers trying to snap that streak. Can they do it tonight? And then in the meantime, holy crap! Holy smoke them if you got them! I don't know what this does for the program, other than gives it the guys inside the walls of Camp Randall a little bit of a shot of adrenaline, but not since November 9th of 2021 have the Badgers beaten a top 25 team. I don't know what that means for everything. I just know that it was good to see. Look, it wasn't pretty. I said this today. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't anything to write home about, but you saw some decent play out of your quarterback. Got a little bit of a spark there. They were able to run the ball. That's the reason I'm wearing the Wisconsin garb today, by the way. But the defense played its ass off. They did what they needed to do. And, they got to win. Just let them stand on it. The students celebrated. That's great. Finally got a top 25 win. Just let them stand on it. Okay, there's so many people out there with their junk out, ready to pee all over this win, and they may not win a game the rest of the year. Okay, they weren't supposed to win this game, so who knows? Who knows? So they finally got a win for the first time over a top 25 team since 2021. I'll let them have that. If the students want to rush the field, let them rush the field. Who cares? That's what you've got to grab onto right now. Nobody picked you to win that ball game. Nobody. And you did. And then, it was the weather. Shut up. Washington plays in weather. Stop. It wasn't the weather. It was just the fact that the defense played pretty well. Washington didn't play a great game. The Badgers did just enough, and they got to win. Let them celebrate. I'm not going to pee all over that. So there you go. In the meantime, focus back to Lambeau Field. We'll be up there later on tonight. Don't forget the Green and Gold postgame show live immediately following tonight's contest. We're going to be live over at Burkle Sports Bar and Grill right behind Stadium View. Come on over and say hi, and hopefully we're celebrating a Packers victory tonight. The Green and Gold postgame show, your calls, postgame audio, the reaction, and all of that kind of good stuff. Mike Clemens in the locker room. We got all of that coming up tonight immediately following the game on all of our different viewing and listening and stuff platforms. So there you have it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You can find us there. That's the way to let your voice be heard. We appreciate it and encourage it, as a matter of fact. Then you can text us, another great way to find us. Text us, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. You can watch us each and every day. You can go to YouTube. We're on YouTube each and every day. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michael Show. YouTube.com/Bill Michael Show. You can also find us on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. You can find Grant at Wisco Grant, WISCO, Wisco Grant. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on TikTok, all of those platforms. Please follow us if you would. We appreciate it very much, and our viewership and such has gone up over there as well. The Bill Michael Show, same thing, The Bill Michael Show. We're on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app. We have our own app, as a matter of fact. Wisco, WISCO, Wisco Sports Zone. 3 words, put them all together. Go to Wisco Sports Zone, download the app, or just go to wiscosportszone.com, and you can see everything for yourself. Find us via email, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. The website simply thebillmichaels.com, which all of this is over there as well. We're on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts after the fact, and we are on My 24 T. It was pretty cool. Quite a few people, I guess, watching the program this weekend because it aired on Sunday at 4 o'clock, and some of the games weren't great. So it was on My 24 TV this past Sunday at 4 o'clock. So thanks for watching. Usually we're on Saturdays. So I don't, because we had volleyball state championships going on, and My 24 carries that. So we got bumped to Sunday. This week we should be back. We should be back at our regular time on Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. Saturday night, 8 o'clock Central Time. My 24 TV in Milwaukee. There you go. Grant Bills, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing excellent. I caught a little bit of a bug this weekend. I'm not sure what, so I'm a little stuffy, but I'll push through because it's big day. Super and Gold Monday.
Well, here's my question now. Go ahead. Are you producing? You're not producing tonight, right? For the post-game show?
No.
Okay. Because otherwise you'd be dead.
No, I hope to have some NyQuil in my system by the time that, probably about 30 minutes before you go on air. I want the NyQuil to kick in just as the game is ending.
Unless, of course, the game's a blowout one way or the other, then you take it whatever quarter it happens to be in.
There's going to be NyQuil, celebratory NyQuil, depressed NyQuil. There's going to be NyQuil in my system. I actually enjoyed not having a Packer game yesterday. I got to watch just Vikings-Ravens, which is a game we were both interested in. Yeah. And I guess the Bears game as well. Yeah. Commanders and Lions was very interesting. God. But I enjoy a Sunday where I can just like kick back and watch a bunch of other games.
The Giants, first of all, it was a wild weekend. The Giants have now lost 4 games and come from behind fashion. 4 of them this season. I mean, good. All you had to do was stop them and get a stop and play as a team. And they just couldn't do it. Oh, my God. And look, these are the games last year that the Bears were losing, that the Bears are now winning. And they believe in themselves. And that is a team there. And it pains me to say it. They're for real. They're for real. Now, they're not winning in great fashion, but they are winning. They're figuring out ways to win. And that's what good teams begin to do. You gotta walk before you run. And that's what the Bears are starting to do. But if the playoffs were today, the Bears would be in the playoffs. How about that? That makes you shudder a little bit, doesn't it? But what a weekend. The Bills got drilled down in Miami. What the hell? I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. And it's not like it started. It's not like the Dolphins got out to a hot start.
Right.
I think like they had a timeout before the game started. Tua threw a pick 2 plays later. Right. Like it started poorly for the Dolphins. It's not like they got hot and lucky at the beginning. Yeah. The Bills just kind of got drilled.
Yep. It was just a weird weekend. The Panthers coming off of the big win over the Packers completely crapped the bed. They got beat by the 1-win Saints 17-7. Didn't see that coming. The Colts barely escaped Berlin with a win 31-25. The Ravens came in, and I kind of thought the Ravens might beat the Vikings. The Vikings were feeling pretty good after the win the previous week, but J.J. McCarthy went back to being J.J. McCarthy. And yeah, that didn't look good at all.
8 false starts penalties the Vikings had at home.
Terrible. Like we had mentioned, the Dolphins beat the Bills. How about the Jets getting their second win of the season, putting up 27 against that defense? Didn't see that coming. Not at all. Seahawks at home kind of got the win, kind of figured they would. How surprised were you that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got beat by now the 8-2 and they're back New England Patriots?
I guess not shocked, but I didn't pick them. I think you picked them, didn't you? I think you picked the Patriots.
Yeah, I took the Patriots.
I think the Bucs need Godwin and Evans. They need everybody healthy more than I thought, right. I guess. I thought that Emeka Egbuka and them being at home, I thought that would be enough, but another really impressive win by the Patriots. Drake May's awesome.
Yep. And then the 49ers got drilled by the Rams. The Rams are probably, if I had to pick right now, the best team to represent the NFC, and I know it changes week to week, but that's probably the team.
Well, Stafford, I think, has 20 straight touchdowns now without a pick. He's just on a heater.
He is.
So in a month, who knows? But right now, it's the Rams conference for sure, which I think is what you said during Buy or Sell on Wednesday. Right?
He's the man right now. I mean, the addition of Devontae Adams and the way that offense is flowing, holy crap. That thing's for real. And then they have now found their rhythm. Look out, the Detroit Lions, after getting beat by the Vikings inexplicably. Just now, the Commanders didn't have Jane Daniels and such, but they stomped the Commanders in that game yesterday. That was an embarrassing loss for the Commanders and a solid, emphatic win for the Detroit Lions. And then how about did Rodgers? Look, we talk about Jordan Love every now and then overthrowing, and you can't do that. And Rodgers couldn't throw a ball to save his life last night. He was terrible.
Sailing everything.
Oh my God. He was the back foot and running around and bad footwork and sailing footballs all over the place. And Then he gets upset with, his offensive line, and then he gets upset with the play call. And he was back to being the angry Aaron last night as they got stomped on Sunday Night Football by the Chargers 25-10. He also took a safety last night.
That was just an awful football game.
I
went to bed in the middle of the third quarter because I was NyQuil'd up, and I'm like, why am I staying up for this? I mean, Justin Herbert and the Chargers didn't look good either. Yeah. I was watching both of those teams last night. I'm like, and I'm supposed to believe that, Jordan Love is leagues behind either of these guys, or if I was a Patriots fan, it's like, these are the teams that we're supposed to be. I don't know. It just, the league feels so wide open week to week.
It really is. It really is. And it started with a weird game on Thursday when the Broncos barely escaped the Raiders in a awful offensive performance, 10-7. We should have seen the week coming just by that performance alone and went, oh, okay, something's going to happen this weekend. And sure enough, it just, man, oh man, just a weird weekend in the NFL. And then, like I had mentioned at the top of the show, the Badgers get themselves a win. So let me say this, and because I did a little piece on it this morning, and people are already just ripping the program. That's why I said, let them enjoy it. People have been pounding on this program relentlessly. And look, McIntosh comes out and says, guys, inside the locker room, don't worry, he's staying. Let's first of all create stability there. Coach isn't going anywhere, at least not for another year. We're gonna run this thing back. Plus, we're gonna put more money into this thing. You guys don't worry about anything else. Just worry about getting better. That's it. Outside, the world is going to scream and yell and jump up and down and pound their fists and throw temper tantrums and everything. And I get it. Okay. So here you go. But they go out and they get a win. And it was a decent win in the sense of the defense played their ass off. The offense, but the offense got a little bit of a boost of adrenaline. You get in a young freshman quarterback who actually gives you a little bit of a spark. It wasn't like he threw for 400 yards or, ran for 200 and 3 touchdowns, nothing like that. But just when you needed a couple of first downs, you got it. You were able to move the football a little bit. You kind of felt good about where you were at. And then as the game went on and the defense just kept stopping them, you kind of thought, wait a minute, they're going to win this game. And then you start looking, okay, top 25 win. And then you go back and you're like, okay, not since November 9th in 2021 had they beaten a top 25 team. It's been so many games and Big Ten win and blah, blah. And you're like, all the things that we said at the beginning of the season, you needed to get a signature win. This is a signature win. I know today people go, well, they're not in the top 25 today. That's a horse blank excuse because they were a top 25 team when you beat them. Okay. Had they won, they still would have been a top 25 team. So they lost. They lost to the Badgers. So what? But let them go. Let them enjoy it. They'll probably get stomped by Indiana this coming week, but they were supposed to get stomped last week. So who knows? But just let them enjoy it. Let them have a little bit of dignity for a day. They'll get back at it, and we'll see what happens the rest of the year. But just let them have their moment. Why are people so quick in this particular instance to pee on everything? Just to say, I told you so? Or tell me anybody, raise your hand if you picked them to win this weekend. And I'll tell you right now, nobody raised their hand. So just let them enjoy it. That's it.
I don't have a strong opinion on when you should or shouldn't storm the field. Like, well, you need to be a certain point underdog or you need to upset, I don't know. It's more of a feel thing. I will say, I don't know that I've ever seen a program and a coaching staff and a fan base and a group of kids more in need of a win than this team. Right. So like, if that's the way that they celebrated,
that's fine.
I'm fine with it. Good for them. It was not a pretty game at all. You just needed to hang a W in any way possible.
That's a great way to put it. I don't know of a program more in need of a win, and they just needed to exhale, and that's what they did. So I'm fine with it. I mean, I know some people say, "Well, that's beneath us." Who cares? Who are you to sit on a pedestal and tell them what they can and can't do? Now, if they're, I don't know, if they've already got 6 wins in the season and they knock off Washington, probably not the time.
No, but then I don't think they'd storm.
I don't think
people would go rushing on that's what I'm saying. I think it's just a feel thing. Right. When it feels right. The crowd doesn't.
Completely agree. I'm good with that. Didn't have a problem with it. So some people do, but that's other people's problems, not mine. So I will sit here and pontificate and spread my opinion. And if you like it, great. If you don't, well, we can agree to disagree.
That is your job.
That is what
very specifically your job. That's okay.
What we do. That's all we do is we spread our level of sunshine as best we can. So there you go. Speaking of spreading sunshine, let me say this. As the state finals wind down, you had volleyball, you got swimming going on, you've got football right now. I went to the football game on Friday night. Congratulations to Grafton for getting the win. They play Catholic Memorial out in Oconomowoc this coming Friday, so they did a fantastic job. And they beat a pretty solid team in Plymouth. Congratulations to Plymouth on the season that they had. They just wore them down. They just ground them down. There is a group of parents now. I'm not picking on just because I was in Grafton and I heard it from the Grafton parents. Parents do this everywhere. But the group of parents who live and die with this high school athletic stuff, we sat there and listened to this group, probably 4 or 5 people. Every other play, they are screaming at the officials. It's holding. It's interference. That was a fumble. He hit his hand. What are you talking about? How can you call? And I mean, screaming. And then when the flags are thrown, oh, it's on us. It's on us. Oh, and you sound like a bag of nuts idiots. You just do. You're the most disgraceful fans that do this constantly. You're pathetic. Just let the game play. And the funny thing was, in watching the game, now I have a little bit of a bias because Kristen's kids play for them, but the officials, for the most part, the one call they missed was a holding call on the outside, whatever, and the fans were screaming, and I get it. But otherwise, they were right. The officials were right on every call, except for the one. They were right on the offsides in the kickoff. They were right on the offsides in the fumble. They were right on every call. Every call was right. And, oh, my God, these fans that just scream and yell at the officials. Let me say this. There's already a shortage of WIAA officials to begin with. They can't find them because nobody wants to come up and put themselves out on the line for very little money to put up with you. It's not the coaches. You didn't see Coach Norris or the coach for Plymouth or anybody else screaming and yelling. They were just very, okay, we get it, and you're right. These parents are just embarrassing. Just embarrassing. So hopefully you take this, if you're one of those parents or one of those parents, hopefully you just say, hey, let's take it a little easy. Let's just let the kids play. Let's see what happens and go from there. There's not a whole lot of officials that start off with a giant chip on their shoulder that want to swing the game one way or the other. And there was a couple of times where the officials weren't even looking at the play. They were looking at where the ball went out of bounds or whatever, And these people are just screaming. Oh my God, it's just embarrassing. So that's my little side note to everybody that's out there. College officials, NFL officials, they do it every week. They're getting paid a lot more money, the whole thing. They understand what they're getting into with 70,000 people. Okay, I get that. But these people, come on, man. Come on, be better than that. I think that's it. Is there anything else?
Should we head home for the day?
That's pretty much it. We could just mic drop it right here if we had to. Wouldn't be a bad way to go. So, that's it. Okay. Well, let's do this. We'll come back tonight. By the way, you got the Packers game on, and maybe you're going to sit back and relax tonight. You only want to cook. If you're not bringing anything into the house, or Cousin Subs. Oh, there you go. That's the theme music out of here. We're done. That's it. We're done for the day. Join the Sub Club with Cousin Subs. Maybe you're going to grab one tonight, sit back, relax, let somebody else do the cooking, and watch the Packers and the Eagles this evening. Cousin Subs since 1972, right here in the state of Wisconsin.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap, and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 6 years.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stop the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number one had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing old drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a fan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 11/30/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. Glad you are with us today. If you're grilling out tonight, maybe throwing something out there. Yeah, getting it ready for tonight's contest. Use our friends at Burn Pit Barbecue. And if you don't have any, you got to get some. Especially this time of year, they do the gift boxes. Go to burnpitbbq.com. That is burnpitbbq.com. Whether it's the rubs, the hot sauces, the sweet barbecue sauces that they have, they got something for everybody. You can follow them on all the social media platforms as well. If you look for the Burn Pit Barbecue guys, they're always grilling something. They always put up recipes and stuff, and it's so good, so good. I did a sloppy Joe mix one time with their stuff, and I followed it online. Oh my God, it was fantastic. And I've been craving that. I thought about that yesterday. I just didn't do anything. I didn't even leave the house. But man, oh man, oh man. Good stuff. I didn't leave the house from Friday night when I got home. I didn't leave the house all weekend. Not all weekend. Not the whole weekend. I didn't do anything. I just kind of laid around. Slept a lot of the day on Saturday. Watched some of the games. Sat up. down in the living room, made a little bit of dinner, nothing big. And then yesterday, I did nothing but work in the house. That was it. Just worked around the house yesterday. But don't forget our friends at burnpitbbq.com. That is burnpitbbq.com. So, Grant, going back to you, feeling under the weather, did you just all of a sudden wake up with a bug, or do you kind of feel it coming on to last weekend?
This is funny. I was driving home to my parents on Friday. It's like a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
And I was singing a lot in the car. Sue me. I like to enjoy my solo time in the car. And my voice started to hurt. I'm like, I was singing too much. I was pushing myself vocally,
right.
Obviously. This is the issue. And then I woke up the next morning. My throat was all, dry and scratchy. So I'm like, I should have known. My singing voice would never let me down like that. I obviously came down with some sort of a cold. So no, just kind of slowly over the course of the weekend. Not a huge deal.
There's stuff going around. Everybody I know has got something, which is another reason that I was probably good I didn't leave the house, because I couldn't catch anything being out there. But I had things delivered, mostly Amazon, but that was it. I didn't spend Saturday. I had all these plans. Saturday, I literally did nothing. I slept in, which I never do. I slept in. I got up. I went down and watched some college football. I was tired. I'm like, the hell with it. I'll go take a nap. Went and laid down, took a nap, woke up at like 5, watched some more college football, came downstairs, made a little something to eat, and went back to bed. That was my day. Yesterday, got up, and all I did, because I had to do all the necessary stuff. I did laundry and all that stuff. But I thought, you know what? I'll start working on the house for the Christmas party, because we're about 4 weeks away now. And I got the entire great room done. And this is the time when you start thinking about the fireplaces and stuff. So for years, I had been like scraping creosote and soot and stuff off of the windows of my fireplace. And I was at Menards like a week ago. And I was buying a few things. And I saw this stuff, and it was like $7. It's in a squirt bottle. I'm like, this stuff probably isn't going to work, but it says it gets rid of it, so I'll give it a shot, because it's got to be better. Because I'm using vinegar and everything on this stuff. Can't get it off. Took this stuff yesterday, and it's a messy job. I mean, you got to get gloves, and because it's nasty. So I opened up the old, down in the great room, because it's a huge fireplace down there. So I opened up the big, double doors, and I thought, well, I laid a blanket, not a blanket, but a big giant towel, old crappy towel underneath this thing. And I just sprayed this stuff. And like within 30 seconds, it just melted off. It was the most amazing crap I've ever used. So I finished doing the great room yesterday, had the NFL on, watching football. I built a fire last night. I kicked back the recliner and the couch. And about 9:30, I woke up. I was out from like 7:30 to 9:30. I had a bowl of chicken noodle soup and a cheese sandwich. It was glorious. That was all I had. It was glorious. I didn't do anything.
You buried the lead. You had the greatest weekend of all time, is what it sounds like.
It was doing nothing. It was so awesome. It really was. It was so awesome. The house, the whole great room is now ready for the Christmas party. Some other stuff's around the house, but I got the laundry done. I'm ready for tonight. I got a ton of sleep, so I'm good. Ready to go. By the way, why are so many people picking the Packers? Everybody believing the Packers are going to win tonight?
Well, when you say they play up or down to their opponents,
yeah,
they should play up to their opponent tonight, right?
Yeah.
I didn't pick them, but I think they're going to play good.
Yeah, I didn't
pick them though.
Just coming off of that terrible performance against Carolina and the inconsistency they've had. Now, speaking of that, they should probably whoop the hell out of the Eagles tonight, just by the inconsistency and the ebb and flow that they've had all season long, which would mean that they would come back and play well. But I couldn't, after what I witnessed in the offense and how bad it's been, and the fact that you've got banged up wide receivers and no Tucker Kraft, and you kind of got to go, okay, until they start feeling it again, I probably can't go in that direction. But so many people I see taking the Packers. And by the way, speaking of that, in the betting line, it's down to 1.5. It went from 3.5 down to 2.5, now 1.5, which pretty much says that the world believes that Philadelphia is going to win when you're only 1.5 underdog on the road. They believe that you're probably the better team. So, I haven't seen too many people of ilk take the Packers. Now, that being said, that's when the Packers should probably win. But I was listening to Ebo's show today. Everybody calling in with Packer scores, and it's like, nah, I don't see that happening. I hope it does. I'm hopeful, but I don't see it happening.
There was more optimism for the Badgers. And it's weird. I was talking to my dad about this on Friday, and I'm not victory lapping saying that I thought the Badgers were going to win, but we were joking. Like, at some point, it's just really hard to lose 12 straight conference games.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
no matter how badly they suck, and they do, and they did on Saturday,
Right.
at a certain point, football's a sport in which it's just eventually going to happen for you. Not all the time, but man, you lose 11 or however many they lost, conference games in a row. At a certain point, you just back into a win
Right.
at home when the weather is crappy. And I think that's maybe a little bit of what we saw on Saturday.
Yeah, it was, which completely thrilled with. I was giddy for. So I was glad to see the Badgers finally pull one off and get a win and not do it against, like, say, Minnesota. It's great to beat your rival. Don't get me wrong. But I wanted to see that. I was glad to see them do it against a team that actually had a number in front of it rather than just a nobody, that you just beat up on. So
First time since 2025 or 2021.
2021. Yeah, November 9th of 2021. I think it was November 9th, was it? Yeah, because the Packers have not beaten Philadelphia since December 6th of 2020. They've lost three straight to the Eagles. 2 last year, 1 a couple of years ago, and then now the last time they beat them was in 2020. So it's been a while. And I get the sense that this could be a little bit more of a rivalry game for two reasons. One is they faced each other a couple of times last year. They're familiar. And the Packers are the ones that said, hey, let's do away with the tush push, which is their bread and butter. And I got to think, and I've said this before, that if I'm Philadelphia, I tush push my way all the way down the field until the Packers stop it. Let them gain 3 yards of crack, 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, bang, 3 yards, 3 yards, all the way down. What is the over and under tonight on tush push? I think it's 3. If I remember on betonline.ag with prop bets, 3 tush pushes tonight against the Green Bay Packers, which they're averaging 2 a game. But tonight, I think they throw an extra one somewhere just because they're going to say, here, you want to get rid of it. We're going to do it on you as much as we can before you can actually get rid of it. And I do believe that this coming year, the tush push will be banned. There's too many people now publicly and in the media complaining about it being just an ugly play. And again, if you want to stop it. But there's so many people talking about how bad it is. So anyway, 3, I think, is the over and under on tush pushes tonight. Let's do this. We're here from Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur spoke and kind of getting ready for this contest coming up here tonight. And then there's some things I need to get into because some of you, your hate blinds you and you just sound stupid. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes.
At Cousin Subs, loyalty has its rewards. You love a made-to-order grilled cheesesteak, right? Join the club. You love Wisconsin cheese curds, right? Join the club. You love rewards too, right? Then join the club. The Cousins Club, where you earn points on every purchase, and those points are redeemable on all your favorites. So download the app or sign up online and start earning today. Cousin Subs, we believe in better.
Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show on a Green and Gold Monday. Getting you ready. Coming up tonight, Packers, Eagles, Lambeau Field. Don't forget, we're going to be there live afterwards. The Green and Gold postgame show immediately following the Packers and Eagles on many of these same stations. We will find you there tonight. Looking forward to it. Check out our friends at Calderon Club if you're going to go out tonight or any other night for that matter and just enjoy yourself some terrific Italian food. I had a couple of friends that were in town. I didn't get a chance to see them, but they ended up going down to Calderon on a Friday night. We were at the football game, so I couldn't join them. But went down there Friday night, just, again, rave reviews, whether it's the spaghetti and meatballs, the Bill Michaels, the thin crust pizza, the appetizers. It's just fantastic, authentic Italian food at Calderon Club. Next door, still authentic Pizzeria Napolitana. That is San Giorgio. Both places right there. 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee. 838 Old World 3rd Street, downtown Milwaukee. And you will not eat better Italian food if you had to. Somebody put a gun to your head and said, eat it. You'd be like, I got to go to Calderon Club. And just have to, if I'm going to eat the best before I take a bullet to the head, it is what it is. Matt LaFleur talking to the media. Take a listen to what the coach had to say.
Kicker for this week? Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
Where did that decision come down to?
Well, I think you look at the total body of work. I think you guys probably read into what I said a little bit too much in terms of I feel as though, and this is the way we're always going to approach it, every spot is a competition. So,
any concern with Golden? Was that just kind of a rest day for his shoulder yesterday?
No, I mean, it's just one of those deals that he's fighting to play, and we'll see how he's feeling today, whether or not he goes out there and practices. But yeah, it's just he's got to be able to handle everything that we're throwing at him.
So did he have a setback or
no setback? No, this is totally day by day.
How's Wicks looked the last couple of days, and is he ready to get back, you think?
Hopefully. I think he had a decent day or a good day yesterday, although he was limited. So we'll see how he's feeling out there today and then make a decision.
The last several games, the scoring in the second half compared to the first half has been quite different. I know there's a lot of factors in play, but is it adjusting to what the defense is doing, or what stood out to you in that regard?
No, I think it all comes down to ability to execute and just maximizing your opportunities. Certainly, self-inflicted wounds at times. And so we just got to be more consistent against a defense that I think is a pretty good defense.
Matt, how do you view your time with Jair? There were some good times, there were some injuries. How do you view it?
Yeah, I mean, we all know the type of player that when he's healthy, that he can be. And unfortunately, going back to what happened, I would say in the Pittsburgh, that's where it kind of flipped, and his availability was very inconsistent after that.
How have you thought Nixon and CB have played? Obviously, you brought in Samuel for a visit the other day. What have you thought of your starters?
Yeah, I think those guys, I was really proud of how they've been competing and challenging. And the one thing that, regardless of position, but let's just say the corner position in particular, there are going to be times where guys are going to make plays on you. But I just don't want to have the gimme plays, like where we're playing off, we're playing soft. And I think our guys have been challenging, and sometimes they're going to catch a ball on you, and it's just how resilient are you? I think that is a position where you got to have the memory of a goldfish.
Kind of playing hurt or trying to play hurt and just wasn't able to keep
No, that was a new injury that occurred in game.
So what is the plan for him going forward, do you think?
It's just we're trying to get him back as quickly as possible.
With Lucas, is that injury a bit more significant than you thought?
Absolutely. I think it was, it did not heal as quickly as we thought. I think injuries are always a tough deal. Sometimes they're a moving target. So I think that everyone's a little bit different, but the hope was that we'd have him back before this, and that hasn't been the case. But it's certainly not anything he's doing or not doing to try to get back.
So is the hope that he'll still be back sooner than later, or is IR at this point?
No, I think sooner than later.
Did you have to have a procedure? Or?
No.
Matt, I don't want to ask a Paul almost game plan question like earlier in the week, but you used X closer to the line of scrimmage. You obviously had the sack. Are you and Jeff looking for ways to get him more involved than just erasing team's ability to go down the field against you?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think you're always trying to get your best players involved in any facet of the game. And that was one of those where you call a safety blitz, and he made a nice play on it. Unfortunately, we didn't come up with the football, but I think that's also a good lesson for all our guys. Hey, that ball is on the ground. It's got to be ours, because we see them every week. I've Connor Lewis get up there and show stuff from around the league. There was one in the Chicago-Cincy game last week that was ruled an incomplete pass, but you just never know how those are going to be ruled. So we need everybody to just get on the ball, regardless of whether you hear a whistle or don't hear a whistle. Many times they're so close.
You mentioned the challenging of the cornerbacks a minute ago. Is that the byproduct of having the pass rush where they can do that? I'm assuming.
Well, I think that definitely gives you maybe a little bit more courage to trigger and sit on some things. But, you also got to play situations too. So there's other variables that play into that.
You said last week your opinion on trap games. What about measuring stick games? Like, do you have a feel for where your team is right now in relation to what you think it's capable of? And is this a game where you can get a better idea of that, or is that nonsense?
I mean, that's probably something for you guys. I'm not going to sit here and say that doesn't creep into people's minds. I'm sure that absolutely does. I'm telling you from my perspective as a coach, like I view all these games the same in regards to, I think every week is a measuring stick to see, can you go out there and perform at your best? I mean, that's really all you can ask anybody, is to play up to your standard, your capabilities. And when that standard is not met, win or lose, it's disappointing. So I think, what a great opportunity. Obviously, Monday Night Football, defending world champions, Lambeau Field. I don't think it gets much better than that. And this is a really good football team, obviously, and they have shown that consistency for a number of years now. I mean, they got star power on every level and in every phase. I think Nick's done a hell of a job there. And so in that regard, it is a great test for us.
So do you feel like I know how good you felt about this team going into the season. Do you feel like you have a good handle on where you are compared to what you're capable of? Because you have a good team, but it's been inconsistent at times.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the challenge. Like I said, every week, can you play up to your level, and can you do it consistently? I mean, that consistency is the greatest measurement of performance. So any team can go out there and do it one time, but can you put repeat performances out there? And unfortunately for us, I don't think we've done that. So, the other thing that I don't think we've done a great job of is just playing a complete game in all three phases. There's been moments of really good stuff, and then there's been moments of really bad stuff. So I think it's, like I said, it's a really good football team in all three phases. It's a great challenge for us. And, hopefully we can go out there and play our best ball.
On offensive line, if you're healthy, why do you rotate guards? I can think of 2 or 3 different reasons why, and how common is that? How about player development or competition, or you got like defensive line keeping guys fresh? What's the main reason to do that?
All 3 of those. I mean, you knew the answer. You answered your own question.
Well, I watched the game.
Do you want to come
Sure.
work with us?
Sure.
All right. I like where your head's at, Mike.
But it's not common, right?
Well, it's not. It's something that I do recall doing back when I first got in the league in Houston. We had a situation like that where we'd rotate guards. And I do think, you mentioned it, the D-line is a position typically where there is more rotation, and, you're always getting a fresh body thrown at you. So when you feel good about multiple people, of course, you want to keep them playing, keep them engaged, keep them a part of everything, and keep developing them. So I think that's kind of where we're at.
So somebody's on Houston.
It is.
Last one. He's good.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, guys. Have a good
There you
one.
go. That's Matt LaFleur talking to the media, and Mike Clemens being invited to come coach with the team. Now, see, I'd take Mike up on that. Mike's been around long enough. He knows what's going on. I can see Mike doing that. Sitting on the back of a sled with a whistle. I can see Mike doing that. Hell yeah.
I like where your head's at, Mike.
That will be a drop that lives forever until Matt LaFleur is no longer the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. So let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show on a Green and Gold Monday right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, The winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 6 years.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number one had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing old drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a pan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 11/30/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
When it comes to this Packers situation, I think in a perfect world, they would love to just, even if they don't make the Super Bowl, be the NFC Championship game, extend everybody and just keep this thing rolling. Sometimes that doesn't happen. And when you lose games like you do against Carolina and Cleveland, it's hard to trust you as a team. And they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles this week on Monday Night Football. There are going to be a lot of eyeballs on that game. And here's the thing about the Green Bay Packers. They get up for the big games, right? At least they have this season. So I just think that this situation for Matt LaFleur is something that I would have told you were crazy, 6 months ago, that his job was in jeopardy. Better win. You don't have to win the Super Bowl. You don't have to win the NFC. But I do think you got to show out in the playoffs. You can't have a situation like last year where it was just That first-round game was an embarrassment.
John Middlecoff with his opinion. And for the most part, I agree with him. Can't argue that. The sports of the program, the Bill Michaels Show on this Green Gold Monday. Brought to you by friends at Marquardt RV, MARKQUART, marquardtrv.com. That is marquardrv.com. And, well, we just took our Thor motor coach back. For the 2025 season. It is now done. It's winterized, all ready to go for the upcoming cold and frigid temperatures. But if you haven't gotten yours winterized yet and you need somebody to help you with the service, there you go, Marquardt RV. If you're looking to buy one and then have it stored and not have to pick it up till next year, you can do that too. That is Marquardt RV. Whether it's a travel trailer, fifth wheel, or a full-blown motor coach like we had this season, man, they can do everything for everybody. And that's what they do, is pride themselves on their service. That is marquardtrv.com. Locations all throughout the great state of Wisconsin. The newest one in Appleton now, marquardtrv.com. Again, marquardtrv.com. There you go. So the NFL, let's go with this real quick. The NFL is kind of wide open. I think it's kind of wide open. I just, from, our discussion at the beginning of the show about, what went on this past weekend with, the Colts barely escaping the Falcons, and obviously the Buffalo Bills getting beat by a now a 2-win or 3-win Dolphins team. And, the Vikings looking so good over there in Detroit, and then come back home and get drilled by the Ravens. And the Ravens are now back at 4-5. And, the Jets get their second win of the year over a really good defense of the Cleveland Browns, who are now 2-7 as well. And so I can go on and on, but it's just been kind of a topsy-turvy year. How big of a need is this tonight for the Green Bay Packers to get this one? How big of a need is it? I mean, if they lose tonight to the Eagles, they will have lost to another top NFC team. They will have fallen 4 straight to the Philadelphia Eagles. They will have fallen back-to-back games at home. And then, correct me if I'm wrong, I think then they now fall behind, the Lions, because the Lions have now 6 wins. The Packers would only have 5. They would be 5-3-1, and the Lions would be 6-3-1. I think the Lions would take over the top spot in the division, and the Packers would then fall to the wild card slot. And in addition to that, they would then be, if I'm not mistaken, they would be behind the Bears.
They would go to 3rd in the division and 7th in the conference with a loss tonight. Yep.
So if they lose tonight, they're behind the Bears, who are at 6-3. They'd be behind the Lions, who are at 6-3. 7th in the conference. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is a really big game tonight for Green Bay in a lot of different circumstances. Huge game, because when you look at it and you look at the standings for the NFC East, look, if Philadelphia loses tonight, yawn, no big deal. The only thing they lose is the number 1 seed. That's it. Beyond that, they don't lose anything, because they're 6-2, and the closest team to them is the Dallas Cowboys at 3-5. Washington is 3-7. I mean, the Cowboys 3-5-1.
And they just won the Super Bowl, so they get the benefit of the doubt. If they lose a regular season stinker, whatever, we've seen them prove it at the highest level.
This is a huge game tonight for Green Bay. Huge for so many different levels. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about some attitudes towards Matt LaFleur and Matthew Golden. Don't go anywhere. 1 hour down, 3 yet to go. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show on this Green and Gold Monday right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers will host the Philadelphia Eagles tonight at Lambeau Field for Monday Night Football. The wide receiver room has been hit with the injury bug. 3 receivers, Matthew Golden, Dontayvion Wicks, and Savion Williams, have all been listed as questionable for the game, while Christian Watson is on a pitch count coming off his ACL tear, and Malik Heath was a limited participant on Saturday. Now, despite injuries on the offense and defensive front, safety Xavier McKinney said both rosters are really good, and it's a good test for both teams.
No, our roster's really good. I think our team is really good, but their team is also really good as well. Just knowing that we could potentially see each other again later on down the line. So I think this game kind of sets that up, and we got to be real intentional about, what we go out there with and the play style that we have.
Again, it'll be Packers-Eagles tonight. Kickoff from Lambeau will be at 7:15. Turning to Wisconsin, Saturday saw the Badgers beat a top 25 team for the first time since November 9th of 2021 as they took down Washington 13-10 at Camp Randall. Up next for the Badgers, they'll travel to Indiana to take on the number 2 Hoosiers this Saturday.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Despite 37 points from Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Bucks would fall at the Pfizer Forum yesterday, 122-115 to the Houston Rockets. The Bucks are now in Dallas tonight to take on the Mavericks for a 7:30 tip. And finally, number 24, Wisconsin basketball will host Ball State tomorrow at the Kohl Center. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
Welcome back in on a Monday, a Green and Gold Monday edition. The Bill Michaels Show. Hopefully, your weekend was great. You got to relax a little, watch some football, see a Badgers win over a top 25 team. An incredible finish down in Happy Valley, where it wasn't so happy by the time Indiana left, but Indiana got quite the scare. Who is next up on the Badgers docket, by the way? You saw an embarrassing performance out of Ohio State, which was somewhat, I get it, but boy, you talk about condescension. And then you've got the NFL, which was completely topsy-turvy over the weekend. So you got so much going on. And you've got 2 arrests now in Major League Baseball, in case you didn't know. 2 arrests for the gambling side of things. And Major League Baseball cooperating with that investigation.
I saw the bets were for like $5,000 and they're facing 65 years in prison if convicted on all charges. It's like, aren't you guys making a couple million there?
Yeah. They got kickbacks from gamblers who bet on their pitches, strikes or balls. So the pitches that they threw, the majority were not strikes, and the gamblers that were betting on them in those particular innings cleaned up. There was a heavy amount of money that was bet on these 2 pitchers to throw balls and pick the pitches. And then there was kickbacks to each player for the money won with the gamblers to the tune of about $500,000 that the gamblers won on those prop bets. And so you had 2 Cleveland Indians that were arrested over the weekend. Or arrested today. Was it today or over the weekend that they got arrested?
I think one of them got arrested and the other was they were still looking.
They're still looking.
Florida or something,
yeah,
I think.
So they are both going to be brought federal charges for this because of wire transfer frauds and all that kind of stuff. It becomes a federal deal. But you've got that going on in the world of baseball. So
what happened with Ohio State, by the way? Didn't they get a comfortable win over who they
played all backups. They never even played like their starters.
At all?
Yeah, like it was, they basically looked at Purdue as maybe a practice game. And on one hand, I get it. It's Purdue and they're not that good. And, you're going into a stadium that, have you ever been to West Lafayette? You ever been down there?
I have not.
It is like, it's like that where Northwestern is, or Northwestern's old stadium too. It's like
smaller.
It's like a high school stadium. It really is. I mean, some of these Texas high school stadiums are bigger.
Well, especially compared to the Horseshoe, right? If that's the point of comparison.
And my high school's got, if it had more capacity, my high school's got a better stadium than what they do in West Lafayette. So it's just, there's a feel about it. So basically, Ryan Day said, we're going to start all the backups and the 3rd and 4th string guys and just go see what they can do. And starters, just be ready. And if I'm a player in West Lafayette. Now I get it. He's trying to preserve his guys. He looks at it as kind of a bye week. It's not about, going out and getting guys hurt. And so instead he played the backups to the backups, and they got a comfortable win, as you kind of knew they would, because even Ohio State's, third and fourth string are still 3 and 4 star players, but it was kind of a slap into the face to the guys that had prepared all week to try to play their best against your best, just as your measuring stick. I mean, as a guy that would be in a locker room, I would want to go after I would want to go after their best. I would want to be able to try to play them to see where I measure up. And instead, they got the backups to the backups of guys you never even saw or prepared for. And now you still got beat. But it was kind of like, it's a fine line, because you don't want to get guys hurt. There's no reason to put them out there against a team that is completely inferior to you. But I also, if I'm playing in West Lafayette, I take offense to what you just did. And that would be something that, whether it's next year or the year after, whatever it is, I'm going to make a note of that you felt it, that we were that embarrassing that you couldn't even put your best out there for even a couple of series. And so, yeah, they're on one hand in Columbus, they're like praising him, saying, hey, you didn't put anybody in harm's way. This is the smart thing to do. It's about winning another title, blah, blah, blah. On the other hand, you really kind of demeaned your competition.
I heard Gary DiNardo on the postgame talk about how Ohio State, basically, if you combine the minutes they've played for their starters, they've played a game or two fewer than everybody else, because week by week, they're only playing 3-quarter games.
Right.
And their point was, well, by the time you get to January and you have all of these, extra weeks, this is going to be some big advantage for Ohio State, which I didn't really know. But when you're winning every week by 40, 50 points, I guess that's something that can be taken into consideration, all the rest that you're getting.
Yeah. So it's, John says it's a nice football field. No, it's not. The field itself is okay. The stadium and the surroundings aren't. It's not a great atmosphere. He says, well, I've been there. So have I. And it's not. You go to the shoe. Go to the shoe. Go to Michigan. Go to Penn State down to Happy Valley. You go out USC, go to Oregon. Go to any one of go to Camp Randall when it's rocking. Go to Iowa. Any one of those. It doesn't even compare, John. So not even close. Not even close. So anyway, that's what went on this past weekend. There's a little bit of controversy there, and they've taken a little offense to it in West Lafayette. Not that it matters a ton, but they got themselves into a little bit of a snit, we'll say, over all of this. In the meantime, the Green Bay Packers trying to get ready to win tonight, and we were talking about this coming into the top of the hour, that a huge game for Green Bay. You lose this one, you're 7th in the conference, you're 3rd in the division, you're behind Detroit and Chicago, who got a win yesterday. And you will have lost 4 straight to the Philadelphia Eagles, the people that you went after in the offseason to ban the tush push. You've been beaten then twice in a row at Lambeau Field. I mean, you lose this one tonight, there's a lot of reasons to go, yeah, not good. Not good. Because you will have been beaten by a good team and a bad team in back-to-back weeks. And right, Terry says, well, who knows what to make of the Carolina Panthers after this weekend? Yeah, if you didn't find out or you weren't really paying attention, Carolina got beat by a 1-win Saints team. They went out and laid an egg. They dropped a touchdown early in the ballgame. They were up 7-3 after the first quarter and never dented the end zone or split the uprights after that. A team that really put it on Green Bay could not beat or come close to beating an awful Saints team. So if you lose this game tonight, where are you? Where are you as a team? Where are you as a franchise? There's a lot of reasons you got to win this one tonight. A lot of reasons. Now, I want to go to the Matthew Golden thing because I think this is ridiculous. So our resident absolute positive Matt LaFleur hater, Dennis, says he chose to continue to start an injured kicker who's been struggling over a backup kicker who's been on fire and trustworthy, which, by the way, the backup kicker is 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 or something like that. It's not like he's, last year, the McManus was on fire. He was winning games. He was kicking from all over the place. He had an injury, and now you're working your way back. It's as simple as that. Of course, he chose the veteran because of loyalty to him. No, it's not because of loyalty. It's because they paid the man and because he's been there, done that. You can't, there's certain things he's done and he's done it well and he's won games.
And, and you talk about loyalty, that Matt LaFleur has said body of work multiple times. When a guy has shown that he can do it for a long time, call it loyalty, call it whatever you want. They've seen it before with him.
And that was when, Mason Crosby had the one bad year that his swing was off. Remember that he missed 3 or 4 over in Detroit and he just couldn't get it right. And everybody wanted him run out of town. The very next year, he's one of the better kickers in the National Football League. He just worked it out. Sometimes you got to stick with him. It's like a quarterback who's got a yip in their throw. You stick with them, you work it out, and then they come back and then they're better because of it. Then he said, I heard LaFleur, and this is some others have said this too. They made the statements about Matthew Golden. He's got to be patient. He'll get his time. His time will come. And they go off. Goody drafted him number 1. He's a number 1 guy. No, he's not. Stop. Tell me Egbuka came into the league and he's been fantastic. Marvin Harrison Jr. came into the league. His first year wasn't great. Justin Jefferson wasn't great in his first year in the league. It took him probably 7-8 games to really get it going. He had talent, but he wasn't the guy. Randy Moss came into the league. He wasn't great his first year. He certainly showed his potential, but he wasn't great. It takes a while to get the rhythm of the offense down. This is in college. It's a lot faster. They're bigger. They're stronger. They have more technique capability. It just takes some guys a little bit longer to get it. Matthew Golden, there's times that he's been open. I agree with you. But I sit there and watch the man. There are times he's not. So the whole thing about, you disagree with that. So they should force feed the ball to Matthew Golden and just that's it? Because he's got, again, people get so caught up in the number in front of their name. First round draft pick, second round draft pick, third round draft. Who cares? Who cares? Yeah, there's an expectation, but who cares? Does that mean they should be constantly throwing the football to Luke Musgrave and just to hell with Tucker Kraft because he's a third round draft choice? That's your mentality, though. And if you're going, well, that's just dumb. Exactly, it is dumb. I don't care if he's a first-round draft choice. He's a good wide receiver, and he's going to mold himself into something. Greg Jennings wasn't great his first year. Jordy Nelson was not great his first year. The thing that Jordy found his first year was he's got really good hands and he doesn't drop many passes. But he wasn't great his first year. He didn't get great until about 3 years in. And that's when him and Rodgers really became symbiotic with one another. And all of a sudden, he became the back shoulder guy. Greg was downfield. Jordy was back shoulder. James Jones was kind of the underneath guy. And then you had Donald Driver in the slot, and he made a living on inside slants going over the middle and taking the big hits. Everybody had a role. And that's what they're trying to figure out right now. But to say it's insulting Goody, that's a dumb statement. That is just so freaking dumb. It's insulting him. No, it's not. It's saying, look, this guy... You can watch him. And if you would watch him, you would know. If you would watch him, you'd know. Absolutely. And Craig says, Devontae couldn't catch for 2 years. He had his struggles. He also got hurt. Randy Moss had 17 touchdowns, but he didn't become Randy Moss until 2-3 years in. He really started becoming the guy. I mean, that's when he was the go-to. You could throw it up to him anywhere and he was going to go get it. You saw him in his first year. I don't disagree with that. But they're not the Hall of Famers until 2-3 years in. And then they've really established themselves because they've got the moves, they've got the technique, they've got hand play at the line of scrimmage, they've got the understanding of the offense. It just takes a little. Some guys, it takes a little time. Some guys, it doesn't. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, please feel free to go ahead and do so. But to say that Matthew Golden is being disrespected in some way, no, it's not. You go to the open guy.
I just want them to use him the way that he's good. That's such a rudimentary way of saying it, but they use him as a gadget guy. And that's never really been his role. They're trying to make him Amari Rodgers. It's he'll return punts and he'll be our gadget guy. That's not what he did in college.
Right.
I thought you drafted him. We talked about this, Bill, during the draft, because he was a complete polished route runner who could do all of the things in Sark's offense. It was very complicated. Mm-hmm. And they're using him on wide receiver screens, which they're not good at, and they're
Right.
using him on sweeps, which is not his thing. So that's the frustrating thing to me about Matthew Golden. If the ball doesn't find him in any certain game, it's because other guys are open. That doesn't bother me. It's more of his usage.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. I mean, he's been a guy that's gotten it at times. He's made some big catches, specifically that 4th down catch in Dallas, where he really got it. He understood what it was, but when he ended up sitting down in that open zone and really knew kind of what he was doing. And there's times where he's running with somebody in his hip pocket. It is what it is. No doubt. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. Please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Yeah, Randy had 17 his first year. He was a Pro Bowler. I get it. But then he really started catching on. It was 11 touchdowns the next year, 15 a year after that. He had 17, 23. There was a couple of years he was banged up. I get it. No doubt. Understand it. But he had 1,300 his first year, 1,400, 1,400, 1,200, 1,300, 1,600. I mean, then he became Randy Moss and he was just like blowing it out of the water. I get it. I understand it. Quit going off about Randy Moss, because even Randy will tell you that he wasn't really totally Randy Moss until his 2nd and 3rd year in the league. Then you really everything slows down. Everything slows down for you. But he's got credibility. Nobody's downplaying Randy Moss, for God's sakes. Holy crap. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. Hopefully you're having a terrific day. Man, I'll say this. You woke up in the southeastern portion of the state of Wisconsin. You woke up to a blanket today. Holy mackerel. Crazy. Like where I'm at, it's sunny and my grass is green and got a little dusting over the weekend. That was about it. But if you woke up in Kenosha or Racine County, holy, you got 13 inches of snow. Crazy. 2 inches of snow in Sturtevant. They got down in Pleasant Prairie, down there by the malls, as you just head into the Kenosha area and down by getting into Illinois, 13 inches, 11.2, 10.5. Kenosha got 8. Holy mackerel.
There was a legit little mini snow hurricane over Lake Michigan last night. I was seeing some of the meteorologists go, holy crap, look at this. And it was a little mini hurricane down there.
They did you see the Edmund Fitzgerald documentary?
Yes, all of them over the weekend.
Yeah.
Everyone that I came across. Yes,
I did not. I haven't seen them yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I was always fascinated by that. I don't know why.
It's fascinating.
I just always was. I don't know. It's because the Edmund Fitzgerald song by Gordon Lightfoot that is so deep and melancholy, or I just remember when I was a kid when all that happened. And my mom and dad talking about it at the dinner table, and and we were always, my life, I was always a boater, so you always kind of, it wasn't that I ever feared the water, but man, do I respect it.
Oh, the Great Lakes, yeah.
So I just respect the hell out of it, boating. And I don't care if it's like, even when we had a farm pond, got a pretty good sized pond, if you want to call it that, or a lake, depending on your depth. When I was a kid growing up on our farm. And and I knew it was a grass bottom. It was a naturally fed, nothing on the bottom. It wasn't going to be anything. It didn't even have like seaweed stuff growing on the bottom. It was just a wheat area that had grass and it filled in. And my dad and his partner dammed it up and they made this lake so we could fish as kids. And even then I respected the hell out of it. You just never knew, but good God. So it just always fascinated me, the big fits going down. I just remember that. So
it was headed for Toledo, your neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's coming out of Whitefish Bay, up around Superior. Yeah, up around that area. So anyway, that was over the weekend too. So I gotta watch that yet as well. By the way, happy birthday to the Marine Corps. Happy birthday to the Marine Corps. Marine Corps is 250 years today. 250 years, and tomorrow is Veterans Day. So thank you to all of our veterans out there. To all of our veterans, current military and such, because that's me, that's a huge deal. So 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Let's go to the phone calls. Let's go to Carolina Bob. Carolina Bob, what's happening, man?
Hey, I'm enjoying about 60-degree weather. There's a reason I'm not in Wisconsin in the except for the summer.
Gotcha.
Anymore. But no, you were talking about the Panthers, and I'll bring it around to the Packers. But I was at that game in person yesterday against the Saints, and I was watching Packers Carolina. A team that reading their own press clippings, feeling their oats. Beat the Packers. Here's a 1-8 team coming in, roll their helmets out, win, and they look totally uninspired. Same way the Packers looked last week. So people, it happens. The other team gets paid too. They got an Eagles team coming in. They know they need this. Eagles, they seem to be Jekyll and Hyde. I feel fine about the Packers tonight.
Yeah, I hope you're right. I'm not saying the Packers are going to get blown out. I think it's going to be a close game, but I just couldn't pick the Packers to win, being so open. And again, this is what we put our bets out there and go with the spreads and such. And at the time, I think it was 3.5 when I picked the Packers to not cover this game, to lose this game. And now it's a 1.5 point spread because there's more money coming in on the Philadelphia Eagles in this one, just because of the Packers up and down season, I guess more so than anything.
Well, absolutely. And, does LaFleur have their heads on straight tonight? Coaching is a big deal. And, that's what the Carolina post-game people sounded like you sounded after the Carolina game. It's like, what was going on here? They weren't ready.
Yep. No doubt.
But I think they'll be ready tonight.
Hoping they are. I'm hoping you're right, and I'm hoping that I take another loss this weekend, without a doubt. Appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Matt. Matt, welcome to the program, man. What's happening?
Hey, not a lot. We're kind of going to talk about that Saints-Carolina game, too. There's a lot of pressure on the Packers tonight.
Absolutely there is, for so many different reasons. Because you don't want to fall behind the Bears, for God's sakes.
Well, yeah, that amongst other things. But I think most of the pressure falls squarely on LaFleur. Like, the great coaches keep their guys motivated and ready every week. That's their main job, is to get these guys doing their best.
Right. No, I would agree with that.
Anyone really has to say.
No, I appreciate the phone call. Look at it this way. If the Packers win tonight, now you got to remain consistent. Okay, that's what you're looking for, is to kind of start the consistent train and stay the top of the division and yada yada. Not to mention, if you continue to win as it stands right now, you've got to win over Detroit. You would then have a win over Philadelphia. If you get to the top spot in the NFC, you will have home field advantage because of tiebreakers. So you've got a lot of good things going on. If you win tonight, you hold a lot of things in your own hand. If you lose tonight, now you're back to trailing in the division, losing the head-to-head in the NFC. You lose another NFC game, a conference game as well, on, and it begins the hole that you've dug for yourself by losing a game to Cleveland, by losing a game to Carolina, in which you shouldn't have lost either one of those games. But all the other reasons I just gave you, that you've lost then back-to-back games, you've lost back-to-back games at Lambeau Field, and it really does. It will. I think the black cloud that would hang over Lambeau and Matt LaFleur's head would be really, they would have to do some spectacular shuffling to get back to the top spot and to win back the support, I guess. If you win tonight, a lot of people go, okay, you had a couple of bad games. Now this is the beginning. Play consistent. Man, you beat the defending champs. You beat a team you haven't beaten in 3 straight tries. You beat, all those things. You get all of that. But if you lose to them, you've lost for the 4th straight time. You lost back-to-back games at home. You now trail the Lions and the Bears. You've lost the head-to-head in the NFC. I mean, there's so many things that you look at and you go, okay, this is just not good. And I think this would be, Grant, if they lose tonight and they don't make it to an NFC championship game, do you think that would be it for Matt LaFleur?
I'm going to be a real boob and not really give you a great answer on that. I don't know. There's a million games that would need to happen in between then.
Right.
If they lose tonight and don't make an NFC championship game, I don't know. I would bet against them moving on from Matt LaFleur. I think it would really have to hit the fan for me. And I don't think a November 10th game to the Eagles on Monday Night Football, unless you lose 42-0, is hitting the fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think the Packers want to move on. I don't think they want to make changes. So Matt LaFleur or Brian Gutekunst would have to put it on Ed policy. They would have to force him to do something.
Well,
and
I think
already,
this team is, that's just it. He hasn't done anything. He's already said, you're not getting an extension. I'm going to wait and see. And if he's looking up going, you lost back-to-back games at home. By the way, tonight is a gold package game. So just so you know, which is another reason I'm taking off a little bit early today, try to get the hell out of Milwaukee. But then you don't have an easy schedule. You've got Minnesota, and now Minnesota is with J.J. McCarthy, looks bad again. And their defense looked absolutely awful. But then you got to go to Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. You get the Bears back twice within 3 weeks. Plus you got to go to Denver. You're still going to have an up-and-coming Ravens team. And that Ravens game now is going to mean a whole lot if the Ravens continue to win, because they're going to be fighting for the top spot in the division if they don't overtake the Steelers here in the next couple of weeks, because the Steelers just look terrible. And then you got to end your season in Minnesota. You don't have an easy road to go. Sitting here with 5 wins. If you go 5-3-1, then you'd have to say a win against New York, 6-3-1. Say a win against Minnesota at home, 7-3-1. You lose at Detroit, 7-4-1. I don't know if you're going to split with the Bears or not. Say you get the Bears 8-4-1. At Denver.
Denver did almost just lose at home to the Raiders. That's going to be a tough game, but
say 9-4-1. You split with the Bears 9-6-1. Baltimore, You're looking at probably like a 10-win season. You're looking at, if you lose tonight, you're looking at maybe a 10-win season, and you're not going to win the division with that. You're not going to have any home field advantage. You're going to be a wild card team. I don't know. You would have, what, 3 wins in the division if you split total after 1 win last year, and you're right back with the same win total you had? Man, I don't know. I think people would look at it as wash, rinse, repeat. We're not going to keep doing this. And maybe Ed Policy would say the same thing. I'm not calling for Matt LaFleur's job. Let me say that. I'm just saying for those that are not on that bandwagon, those will become screams that will become very, very loud. Very, very loud. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. We got a lot more to get to. We're also going to hear from Micah Parsons. Who else do we have here?
We got Micah and Xavier McKinney. So Micah's the long one. Yeah. We can probably do that one next.
Micah Parsons, we're going to hear from coming up next. We're going to hear from Mike Clemens coming up in about an hour. We're going to hear from Xavier McKinney as well. We got a lot going on. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. All of our guests appear on the Schneider Big Orange Hotline. Schneider, go to 844-PRIDE, call a recruiter today, or go to schneiderjobs.com. Just let them know where you're at. Give them the zip code, and they can help you find something in your area. Again, 844-PRIDE, or go to schneiderjobs.com. 844-PRIDE, or go to schneiderjobs.com.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 6 years.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number 1 had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing old drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a pan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply as 11/30/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
At the Third Ward Beer Garden in Catalano Square. Our friends at the Bud Pavilion, Wisconsin State Fair Park, they said we can't wait to see you all next year. Looking forward to it. They had a tremendous season this year. They wanted to say thanks. Happy holidays to everybody. That's our friends at the Bud Pavilion for Wisconsin State Fair Park and the Third Ward Beer Garden, which is now closed at Catalano Square. Once it gets to freezing temperatures, they can't stay open because things inside that container bar would begin to freeze up. So they just wanted us to pass it along continuously all throughout the holiday season. Thank you very much. There you go. Hey, let's do this. You had Micah Parsons talking to the media, and they had a chance to really kind of catch up with Micah Parsons for a little bit. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Well, Micah, you've made your dealings about the tush person pretty well known. It's a legal play. How do you stop it?
Just not getting down to 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, where they can go back to back. We got to get to 3rd and 3 and beyond majority of the game.
If you do get in that situation, is it just leverage? Is it get off? Like what?
I mean, no one has the answer yet. You know what I mean? It's just play style. You just got to out push them.
Mike, I know it's been a tough week with loss of your former teammate. How are you doing? How are you handling it?
I'm just happy my family's here. My kids are here. So it kind of really made it easy when you're surrounded by loved ones. But I would say, bro, I'm blessed. And, we should all just use this time to stay prayed up. Like, keep praying for your loved ones, praying that people find peace. And then also just continue to reach out to our loved ones. And it made me reach out to some friends I had back home, former teammates, about, how we took for granted the time we had together. You know what I mean? And life's just so short, so we should really just start appreciating a little bit more and just loving people right and being purposeful with our intent of how we treat people and, how we accept people.
How did you find out the news?
I found out like 7:30 in the morning through a former teammate. And he was like, "Did you hear the news?" I'm like, "What news? Like, is there something leaked?" And he approached me with the news, and I said, "No way. Like, what happened?" It's like, "We don't know." And he told me about 15 minutes later about what happened, and the news came out probably 2 hours later, hour and a half, 2 hours later.
Is this something you guys talk about in the locker room? I think a lot of people just assume that you guys are just football players. You're all people at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something we talk about in the locker room. Like, this is hard conversations. Like, this is something you should talk to seek professional help. I mean, we all know, and we'll be fools to act like what we do isn't enough pressure as it is. We live in a pressured job where you're expected to deliver and you're expected to, play a certain way. And when you don't, I mean, it's easy to say, "Oh man, it's so sad," but a lot of people are hard on people. You suck, you stink, we hope you die. I mean, there's a lot of harsh words and harsh things that get said about people. And I mean, as athletes, most of us see it, some of us don't. But we choose to wait till someone passes to realize what we say and what we do, how it can affect people. Now, we all don't understand what happened to 9-4 in the instance, but mental health is important about, being there for each other, whether we're going through hard times or whatever it may be. But I mean, it's tough. It's a hard job. But it's hard to be a person sometimes. I think sometimes people evade that you are human. Like, they try to go away from that. And sometimes you wish things was different, because sometimes we wish we was because obviously it was Marshawn the person. That we could have been there for him, not Marshawn always the uniform. And so I'm just trying to be there for people, more the person side than the football side.
Are guys aware?
What kind of guy was Marshawn, and what are you going to just remember about him and the time that you spent?
Marshawn was a guy who loved his anime, loved his video games like anybody else. I mean, to me, he's always showed me nothing but respect from the moment he came into the locker room, he respected me as a player. He respected me as a person. So I have nothing but, high respect for him. If there's anything his family needs, I'll be the first person to help or, offer anything I can do to offer the person. But, I just hope that, he finds his peace and his family finds his peace in the situation.
If the guys in the locker room know where they can go for help, is that a thing that, if you guys need mental health help?
I mean, that's the thing, man. There isn't. I mean, there's lines, but I think in life, and I've been extremely blessed, and most of us who are still here, we've been extremely blessed. We had amazing people in our lives to be there for us. And, I've had family who dealt with these same challenges. I mean, we all have. And it's how can we be there for them the most impactful way possible? As myself, I've witnessed things that I shouldn't witness about family members, and now we're super close, and I'm there for them as much as I possibly can. So it's just how can we do that? Hotlines aside, and people saying, "Oh, you can call this person." Who can you really trust, and who can you really count on to be there for you? Because that's what it's about.
Is it hard as a guy? I mean, all men are, we're not supposed to be all touchy-feely, but sometimes maybe it's what everyone needs.
Yeah, but there's one person in this world that you can always count on, and that's God. I mean, that's the person you got to almost lean on. I mean, people tell us, men, that we can't be soft, and I mean, you spend your whole life proving yourself to others. I mean, it's for other people to you learn to know your worth, and I think as men, is we're taught not to be as vulnerable. You're right, but there's one person I'm always vulnerable with, and that's God. He knows all the truth and what goes on in my mind and what goes on in this world, and you just gotta find the right balance.
Micah, how are you doing with this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was extremely shocked. I was extremely hurt by the news. Anyone that I know, I don't want to see anyone go this soon at this age. I mean, or I don't want anyone to go, but that's kind of the reality. And I think the first key of is accepting. And, I kind of accepted, but now I just got to just pray that, I just got to pray, like I said, he finds his peace or, what he was looking for or how he felt in that moment. You really just don't know. So, for me, I have kids. It's like, how do I make sure my kids don't end up in a similar situation? How can I be there for them as much as possible?
How difficult is it to try to get back into focusing and thinking about football because obviously it's more than, it's bigger than just a game. How do you kind of balance that and try to focus on, what is the big game up?
It's challenging because obviously the person's side in his career, how people look at it always got to be second. Like, this is a football first, everything else later job. And that's what the fans expect you to be ready. Your coaches expect you to be ready. Even your teammates expect you to be ready. But in reality, to say that we're emotionless and we don't have feelings and, you got to put things to the side all the time, just not realistic. So, I have to find a way to embrace my emotions, embrace everything that I'm feeling for his family, my former teammates. I got former teammates that are devastated. They can't comprehend it. Losing a teammate is like a brother. This is someone like people don't realize how much we're actually together. Like time spent. So that's the challenge. Is like we're putting away a brother. Like regardless, like this NFL is a brotherhood. So it doesn't matter who it is. Like if you're breaking sweat, breaking blood with someone, whether it's on the opposite team or on the same team, it's a brotherhood. Like so, that like trying to put that to the side is challenging. But like I said, we got to find a way because there's an expectation comes Monday night.
What do you suppose your feelings have been with him in your heart at the kickoff Monday night against this common opponent for you, the Eagles? How many times you face these guys?
Yeah, if I know 9-4, you're gonna want me to kill him. He gonna want me to kill him because that's how he played. He always played with the intent and passion and played the right way. And every time I seen him step on the field, he gave it his all. Even when he was hurt, even when he was dealing with things off the field, he never let it show on the field. So I have to do the same thing.
Hey, Micah, there's not a great conversational segue back to football. But when you look at where your team is at, do you have a good feel for how good you guys really are? And is this a game where you can show what you guys are, show what you're capable of?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a bigger test than the Super Bowl champs. They've done something that we haven't done. It's like, how did we get over that hump? I mean, we're going to have to see them again. Like, this is a team that's going to be a playoff team. It's going to be a team that we could potentially run against in the playoffs. Deep in the playoffs, you just don't know how it goes. But it's like, how can we win the big games? Because that's what it's going to take.
Going back to the tush push, what specifically about the play bothers you the most?
It's really the pushing and the pulling, like, and the offsides, like people jumping, people leaving before the ball snap. Like, there's no other play where there's this much discrepancy on a play in the NFL. And I mean, people called it's been judged wrong. NFL even made mistakes and they own the mistakes for it being not called. So, I mean, I feel like there's only one way to eliminate that. But, I mean, how can we control it come the game? We have to win the first and second down.
Does a regular season meeting against a team that you end up meeting in the playoffs again, does it carry any weight later in the season? And if so, what is significant about that regular season meeting when you do meet in the playoffs?
I mean, it's just like, it's like a respect thing. You kind of know, like, you should be taking us serious. Like, we're earning this on the field and we don't care who you are, what you've done. we're trying to earn them stripes. We're trying to take them stripes. We trying to get to where you're going. And that's like what makes this league so competitive is like there's teams that go to the NFC Championship, Super Bowl. We all got them dreams and aspirations to do that. But it's like when you come that next year and you're on the top of the mountain, it's like, how do you stay there? Because everyone's coming for it. And we're coming for the top of the mountain. Like, they're coming to Lambeau to show them why they're on top of the mountain, and we're showing them why we're climbing the mountain. So it's going to be a respectful game. It's going to be a very respectful and disrespectful game. So it's going to be a dogfight.
Mike, is there anything that Lane does that you haven't seen, and is there anything that you do that he hasn't seen yet?
No. It's like that's why I say pass rush is like chess. You know every opening, you know every closing, like, but at the same time, it's like, at what time do you make your attack? And how do you set it up? How do you disguise it? Because I know I'm not going to go out there and beat Lane Johnson 10, 20 times. Like, that's unrealistic. But how do I beat him 1 or 2 times that change the game? That's what it's about.
So from that perspective, when you say you're going up against him 20 times, are you trying to win every single time, or are you trying to set up something for later?
Both. Okay. I want to win every time, but I understand, like, it's like saying, how do you slow the Eagles down? You don't. We understand they got one of the best backs, one of the best receiver duos, one of the best tight ends, and the best offensive lines in the game. You don't. They're going to get theirs. Their playmakers are going to make plays. But it's like, how do we limit those plays? And when you talk about Lane Johnson and Jordan, it's like, okay, you know they're going to set good. You know they're going to block good. You know they're going to use good hands and fundamentals, and they're going to use some veteran, savvy things to slow you down. But it's like, how do you stay aggressive? How do you stay attacking? And how do you keep overcoming the things that they're going to throw at you? And resiliency is the key. I got to outwork them on Monday.
There you go. That's Micah Parsons talking a lot of stuff. Obviously, Marshawn Nealand, his friend, who had taken his life last week. And then, obviously the game, how you handle the game, why the Philadelphia game tonight is such a big deal. And obviously the tush push becomes a topic of conversation as well. Hey, some breaking news in the NFL. The New York Giants have fired their head coach, Brian Daboll. He is now out, which I cannot say. Grant, you and I were sitting here talking about it at the beginning of the program. Like, how do you lose? You've lost 4 games in come from behind loser fashion, and you got your brand new quarterback all beat up. He's been evaluated for 4 different concussions this season already. It just, you kind of knew it was a bad situation from the beginning, and sure enough, the Mara family made the move, and Brian Daboll out as the head coach of the New York Giants. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Want in on the autumn action at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee? Of course you do. With $300,000 in prizes, who wouldn't? November 1st through the 20th, play with your rewards card for entries. Thursdays, pick your win from a prize board. At the end of the night, all leftover prizes go to one winner in a jackpot drawing. Autumn action. It's going down at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Truck drivers, wherever you want to take your driving career in 2026, Schneider has an opportunity for you. Our huge selection of driving jobs means you can get the home time that suits your schedule. Choose from daily, weekly, monthly, or sometime in between. Plus, Schneider drivers can choose from dedicated, intermodal, drive-in, and tanker options. Don't wait to upgrade your career before the new year. Search jobs and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
When you started eating salads with vinaigrette. Look at you, little people like truck. I don't like. If I got some little guy guarding me in basketball, it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over.
Look at-
Those are the words from our buddy, Scotty Ferrall. Ferrall on Brian Daboll and said, hey, he should have been let go a while ago. And that was all she wrote. That was all she wrote. So Brian Daboll out as the head coach of the New York Giants.
When you started eating salads and looking like a femme.
Yes, and
Look at
that was
you.
the end of it. So he said, hey, if he'd have stayed fat, he would have kept his job. So that was an epic rant.
I gotta go find that full video.
Oh my God, that rant is so good. I think I got it in video somewhere out there. It just kind of hovers. Maybe we need it again. Scotty Ferrall. Stay tuned. 2 hours down, 2 hours yet to go. About a half hour away. We'll hear from Mike Clemens coming up. Stick around. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show next.
This This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, it's game day for the Packers. They're going to take on the Eagles tonight in a matchup of two of the top teams in the NFC. Philly enters at 6-2, a half game back of Seattle and LA for the best record in the NFC. Green Bay, meanwhile, 5-1, sits atop the NFC North, though Detroit and Chicago both 6-3. Packers just 1-4 against the Eagles under coach Matt LaFleur, including losing both games last year. But Xavier McKinney likes what Green Bay has in its locker room and looking forward to the challenge of facing this Eagles team.
No, our roster's really good. I think our team is really good, but their team is also really good as well. It's a big game for both teams, just knowing that we could potentially see each other again later on down the line. So I think this game kind of sets that up, and we got to be real intentional about what we go out there with and the play style that we have, and just in case we see them again.
Again, to be the Packers and Eagles tonight. Kick is slated for 7:15. Turn to the Badgers. They snapped their 6-game losing streak on Saturday, beating number 23 Washington. Now comes another very stiff test. They head to Bloomington to face unbeaten and number 2 Indiana. Odds makers have the Hoosiers as 30.5-point favorites in the game. Kick on Saturday is at 11 a.m.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
You may know Rural Mutual Insurance as the #1 farm insurer, but did you know they also offer competitive home, auto, business, and life insurance? They make it convenient to bundle your insurance while saving you time and money. Visit ruralmutual.com to learn more.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs going to be without Taurean Prince for a while. Team announced he suffered a herniated disc in his neck and is out indefinitely. Milwaukee is in Dallas tonight to face the Mavericks. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil for it.
It's a Green and Gold Monday. Packers tonight. Welcoming in the Philadelphia Eagles, the tush pushers, coming to town. Packers have not beaten them in 3 straight attempts. The last time they were beaten, the Eagles, December 6th of 2020. That's how long it's been since they've knocked off the Eagles. They've played them 3 times. None of which they've been able to overcome. So hopefully tonight the Packers are able to get the best of them, remain atop the division, have a tiebreaker against both Detroit and the Eagles, and then continue to start to move forward. Their next opponent, which would then be the New York Giants coming up on Sunday, have just fired Brian Daboll, their head coach, after they figured out a way to lose. They just keep snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory. It's so bad. We were sitting at on Radio Row in the media center down in New Orleans, and our buddy Scotty Ferrall from Ferrall on the Bench and Sports Grid Radio and such, who started talking about Brian Daboll and the reasoning as to why the Giants should fire Brian Daboll. This was one of the best epic rants ever. Here it is.
I'll promote your Hyatt hotels out the ying, but you need to do me a favor. I'm good friends with Brian. Tell Brian, Ferrall says you got to go back to being fat. Being fat and slovenly and smoking cigars and drinking 5 bottles of wine with Ferrall, you were a winner.
Right.
When you started eating salads with vinaigrettes, look at you. Right. Your entire life is over. So Palacero started that conversation by remembering that I used to hang out with Daboll when he was fat and ugly.
Fantastic.
And he was a winner.
Fantastic.
Was he not a winner?
He was. He was.
Coach of the year.
Yeah.
He was coach of the year.
Look at Eddie Reed.
Tonight,
he's still fat eating cheeseburgers. He's winning.
That guy is the king because, and I hate that team, but I like him. You know why? Because he is a fat ass and he loves to eat more than he loves winning Super Bowl rings. I guarantee you he's had more fun this week eating than getting ready for that stupid game on Sunday that I'm not going to watch.
There you go.
I'm telling you, food is the key to life. Food and booze.
There you go.
If you're fat, you're the coach of the year. If you're a skinny, salad-eating femme, you are a loser.
That was epic. And Brian Daboll.
He might have been right.
Yeah.
He might. The Chiefs looked like they were kind of over it in the Super Bowl. They're like, man, this is the 3rd straight year we've had to do this.
Yeah.
There might be some truth to Andy Reid having more fun eating in New Orleans last year than actually playing in that game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was the food capital without a doubt. That was one of the best. That was probably in all my years of doing Super Bowl, that media party by far was the best. By far. That was amazing. And the food they had there, that was crazy. Was delicious. It was crazy good. Everything that they had that they gave the media and gave away. The food down at the media center, it was okay. But the media night, that was one of the best. And the restaurants up and down, whether it was Bourbon Street or going to the Commander's Palace for Mike Clemens' birthday or whatever, it was awesome. That was probably one of the best foodie experiences I think we've ever had. Well, that was what, your second Super Bowl, Grant, or your first?
Correct. That was the second.
That was the second. So
Vegas was pretty great too.
Yeah, well, that's right. There. Vegas was good too. Vegas was good. Mike took us to Pinero's the first night, which was awesome. And we had some decent food around Mandalay Bay. We went to a couple of decent dinners. The media night was pretty good. The food at opening night was terrible. Hate to say that, but it was terrible.
I don't think I was there for the food. I think I got there after the food was served.
Yeah, you were on the air. And then they did opening night out there at the stadium, and that was awful. Remember those soft tacos and stuff? Everything was, it was bad. They kept putting in whatever that seasoning was. Everybody was like, yuck. And there was a lot of tacos thrown out that night. I remember that. But everything else was really good. We had a great time. So
I'll promote your Hyatt hotels out the ying, but you got to tell your coach, go back to being a fat ass. Ferrall.
That's the best. I can't wait to see him again. Every now and then he'll shoot me a text. Last week he shot me a text and he just gave me a WTF after the Packers Panthers game.
I think that guy's insane.
Yeah.
He doesn't sit down and greet you and say, what do you want to talk about? He comes over and puts the headset on and he just goes.
He just goes. And then
until you have to cut him off and take a break, and then he leaves.
Yeah. That's it. You just keep your finger on the dump button just in case and say, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Ferrall, jam. And then, okay, we got to go. All right. Well, just remember this. And then he leaves you with a word of wisdom. Okay, brother. Love to see you. Bye.
Let me tell you about some of the things that I've been up to.
Yeah. He'll either, he will either talk about, his significant other, which is his wife and the double D's, or he'll talk about Kristen's and he'll give you that and then just walk away. All right. Out. Okay. See ya. Oh, it's priceless, man. It really, really is. I love having him on. That's one of those must-see TV moments when we put him on down in Super Bowl.
Crack Alley, where I'm positioned at Radio Row for the 30th straight year. Let me tell you about some of the things I've been doing.
He was, and he's not kidding, because he was a guy that used to be on the main stage. And he was with CBS, and then he left CBS, and he took he got a great gig with Sports Grid Radio, and they do it on XM, and Sports Grid kind of built it around him because he was a dynamic evening talker for a long, long time nationally, and then he went to Sports Grid, and Sports Grid, which is part of Sirius XM, they make room for Sirius, they make room for the NFL Network, and then there was Mad Dog Sports Radio. Those were the three that were up there. There was, I take that back. Fox Sports Radio, Mad Dog Sports Radio, and Sirius XM, and then it was NFL Radio because they're all on with Sirius. And they put Sports Grid Radio behind it because they do more TV than they do like radio stuff. So they did all the TV stuff backstage. So he was literally like the last bastion of curtain rods before you got to the bathroom. And when you were next to the bathroom, and that's where he was. He called it Crack Alley back there.
I was an alcoholic in college, I just wanted to say, and I partied, but I still pulled like a 3-0.
So this whole interview is just a series of him saying insane things.
I know, right? It's crazy. Oh my God. Remember it was the one, what was he talking about when he had the heart attack and his wife?
Yeah, she's trying to sneak Captain Morgan into the hospital for him.
And he wanted to nail the cardiologist or something like that. And I think that was another one that if I remember correctly. So he goes off on so many things. He was great too. We had him out in LA when we were at the Super Bowl out there for, I think it was the Rams and the Bengals. And he was out in LA, and we ended up going to lunch with him and Carver High. And oh my God, he's the exact same. That's not a personality of on the air. That is continuous. I mean, he orders food that way. You know, from
Make a wish.
Right.
I got a wish for you. You know, how about I elbow you in the mouth?
So there you go. Anyway, that's our buddy Scotty Ferrall. That's good.
But yes, Brian Daboll relieved of his duties. I think his wife started talking about this.
Yes, exactly.
Ferrall was right all along.
Exactly. Let's see here. What else do we have? We got so much going on. Let's go with Aaron. Aaron says, as crazy it sounds, I'm more concerned about the Packers' ability to beat the Giants than I am about beating the Eagles tonight. I'm not sure if you saw this, but somebody broke down stats that essentially show how aggressive the Packers' offense is per game. The tighter the matchup, the more aggressive the Packers' offense is. The more the Packers are favored by, the less aggressive they become. If they took that same aggression and intensity that they give against some of these good teams like the Lions and no doubt the Eagles tonight and apply that to the lousy teams like the Browns, the Cowboys, the Panthers, they would be blowout wins. That's all we're looking for. It would be a great win tonight, but honestly, how much can you really enjoy it if you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop? Because it always seems to be eventually. I'll catch you after the game. Tonight in the Packers postgame show, hopefully talking about a big W, although the postgame shows are more entertaining when they lose. Fingers crossed. That is from Aaron. Aaron, they are entertaining because there's more ranting and raving that's going on. I agree with that. But that's a great statement. How much of a win? And again, this is really, I don't want to say spoiled, because that's not a great term. And that puts us on some type of a pedestal because we haven't won anything as a fan base since 2010, 2011. But how petty, what would be a good adjective if the Packers win tonight and you can't enjoy it because you're holding your breath to get through next Sunday against the Giants? You would assume the Giants are going to get now, if Jackson Dart is able to play, and we'll wait and see because he's now being evaluated he's been evaluated for concussions 4 times this season already. 4 times. I got to think that if it's even close, he would not be playing in this upcoming contest. You'd let that kid have a break for a couple of weeks and not get his bell rung again. Okay. But even if they do play him, you always get a jump. You get an energy boost when you fire a head coach. It just happens. So if they get a win tonight, how much do you hold your breath going in to MetLife Stadium on Sunday? How much can you really enjoy tonight's win? Because I know I will. I mean, first time and, 3 attempts and, tush push anxiety and all that stuff.
You should.
You should enjoy it. Absolutely. But there's a lot of people that are already going, yeah, they're going to win tonight. I feel it. But then the butt is filled in with
we can do the butt Thursday and Friday,
right?
It's a long week. The schedule of Sports Talk Radio. We'll have plenty of time for that. Don't bog yourself down with that today.
Right. Exactly. Tim says, I hope Ed Policy's next coach is fat. He's looking for the next coach to be fat. Oh man, that stuff's fantastic. So, but this is from Steve. Steve says, tonight's game isn't going to mean anything if the Packers go in to New York and lay the egg like they have against lesser opponents all season long. This is going to be extremely disappointing. I will enjoy the win tonight, but only for a couple of days because we know the other shoe is about to fall. That's kind of where people are at. I get it. Our buddy Steve says, Steve from Richfield says, happy Monday. Gladly apologize to congratulate Luke Fickell and the Badger football program for a solid win on Saturday. I've been browbeating this program all season long, and they deserve to be acknowledged for a good win against the number 23 Washington Huskies. Hopefully, this is a trend that they can keep gaining steam and moving forward. Now for the big game tonight. Do you think this is a must-win for the Packers? In my estimation, it is because it's a home game. You want to protect the home field. And I think it's important to stay in front of the Lions. The Lions also have a big contest next week at Philadelphia. A win tonight and a potential loss for the Lions next week would loom large. I look for Christian Watson to have a big game tonight, 5 to 6 catches, over 100 yards and a touchdown. The Packers are going to prevail on a nail-biter, 31-30. Let's go, gold package holders. Be loud and get Lambeau Field a-rockin'. That's our buddy Steve in Ridgefield. And I had mentioned that a little earlier, that it is a gold package game tonight. Gold package game tonight. So there you go. All right, let's do this. We'll go ahead and take a quick break. We'll come back. Coming up bottom of the hour, Mike Clemens is going to join us. Mike had it was interesting because the first touchdown pass Jordan Love combination has thrown was to Christian Watson. Mike revisited that. Now, Christian Watson had a couple of touchdown passes from Aaron Rodgers, but the first combination of those two was a game in which Aaron Rodgers got knocked out of. Jordan Love came into and threw a bomb down to Christian Watson, which was hauled in, and Christian Watson took it to the house. And that was the first big pitch and catch between these two. And Mike Clemens caught up with Christian Watson one-on-one. And you're going to hear part of that coming up in the discussion regarding that coming up. And this past weekend, Mike and some of the other guys that cover the team on the regular had a chance on Saturday after practice to sit in the whatever the lounge is with the giant big screen TVs and watch the end of the Indiana Penn State game. And obviously Micah Parsons had a rooting interest in that. So Mike's going to give you a perspective just sitting there watching college football with those guys. Mike Clemens was there. Of course he was. Mike, I wouldn't expect Mike to be anywhere else. So we're going to hear all of that coming up. Bottom of the hour when we hear from our guy, Mike Clemens. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Sennies. They are running shuttles. If you're looking to get a shuttle to tonight's game up to Lambeau Field, they're running them. Second in National Walker's Point and also the one in Lake Country on Watertown Road in Pewaukee. Over the weekend, they did some really cool stuff. They had a meat raffle this past weekend for some charity stuff. They got music coming in and the award-winning Bloody Marys, the great wings, and all the great food that goes along with it. It is Stenny's, the new one in Lake Country, which is a little over a year now. I can't even call it new anymore. And then the traditional 40-plus years in business. Second in National Walker's Point. That is the original, what I've called the Cheers of Milwaukee for years and years. Stenny's, as they say, you should be here.
Jersey in the house, and he was like, Ferrall! And I ran down the street to a cab, and I went back to the hotel, and I drank literally a half a bottle of rum out of the bottle.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 6 years.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number one had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing old drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a pan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 11/30/2025.
Truck drivers, the holiday rush is here. Take advantage by becoming a Schneider driver. By driving for one of America's busiest carriers, you'll stay busy during the holiday season and throughout the new year. Plus, as a Schneider driver, you'll have access to top quality driver support and newer equipment spec'd with the latest safety and comfort features that drivers want. Don't wait. Get a jump on 2026 by exploring jobs in your area today at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Do you remember when Mike Ditka and Buddy Ryan, how fat they were?
Yeah.
When they won in 85 here at the Superdome, I was at the game 46-10 over the Patriots. Buddy Ryan was fat. He wanted to punch players in the mouth, and he wanted to punch Ditka in the mouth, and Ditka wanted to punch everyone in the mouth.
Right.
When you're a D-head and you're fat, and you're a badass, and you got some weight, and you can truck someone like the guy at the media night. I was going to truck him because he was little. Little people I truck. I don't like if I got some little guy guarding me in basketball, it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
It's over. That is our guy, Scott Ferrall. Ferrall on the bench. Always great to get him on the program. I can't wait for Super Bowl. Always good. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. At Pella, they have 0% for 60 months. There's a lot of other deals that are going on out there, especially this time of year. But Pella, that's the one that I chose. That's the one that I trust. And that's the one that has worked. And I say worked for two reasons. One is the economical factor. Last year, as you know, I ended up having the last patio door in the great room replaced. And that room could never... This time of year, if it gets down into the 20s, that room was always like 63, 65 degrees. It never got up to 70. It just, the heat would run all the time in that room. And the minute I had that door changed, everything, it sits at 70, 69, whatever I have it set at, and it's right there. It just doesn't fluctuate. It's fantastic. Go to PellaWI.com. Go to PellaWI.com. The second reason I bought them was the safety. Because they lock, there's that toe kick at the bottom of the door that you kick it, and the little pin goes out, and that door, even if you have a key, it's not going to open the door. From the outside. It ain't going to happen. So the safety, security at night, especially when you leave or you're out of town, you lock up your doors and windows, you know nobody's getting in unless they just bust right through them. I mean, that ain't going to happen. So check out our friends at Pella. Go to PellaWI.com for the home value, for the curb appeal, for the economical factor or the safety factor. Plus 0% financing for 60 months on all the different lines to suit your lifestyle, your taste, and your budget. That's our friends over there at Pella. Go to PellaWI.com. That is Pella. WI.com. Good stuff. Bottom of the hour, Nick Osen from 24/7 going to talk about that Badger win. Mike Clemens going to be in the last hour of the show. He and Grant will take you the rest of the way. As I'm going to get out of here, I'm going to head over to Lambeau Field and start making my way north, getting through Milwaukee and making my way north. So
I clarified with him like 3 times. I'm like, it's with me, Mike, because we said you can go early, anytime in the show. And he's like, no, that's fine. I said, with me, though, not Bill. Like, yep, that's good.
That's
all right.
Good. Okay.
As long as you say
so.
I
told him that last night. He had mentioned like 12:30, and then I was like, okay, I just wanted to be sure. And that's okay. I don't mind. Look, it gives you the last hour of the show to talk to Mike, and I can listen to that on the way up. So I'm happy to do that. Because like I said, with it being a gold package game, I got to think with tomorrow being a holiday for many schools and federal workers and such, there might be some people taking off today too. So, and maybe just taking a long weekend. So I got to think that the highways will start filling up between noon and 2. So as I get out of here, I'm probably going to be hitting a little bit of traffic heading north. So going to get set up over at Burkle's and get ready for the postgame show, and then head over to Lambeau Field and get settled in over there as tonight's game gets underway. I think 7:15, something like that, 7 o'clock. And then we go tonight, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 10, the minute the game ends, but like 10:30 to midnight. We're on the air tonight with the Green and Gold postgame show. So come on over to Burkle's after the fact, and we will see you there. So there you go. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. Again, 877-867-1670. This is from Paul. Paul says, hey, Bill, I think this is a huge game tonight. For Matt LaFleur to prove that he can beat a big league team, I don't know what he means specifically by that, because he's proven that. I mean, go back to the win that they had against Dallas in the postseason. That was a good game. That was a big game. And a meaningful game, he says. Paul, they've won in the postseason. They've won meaningful games. Now, in recent history, okay, I can go along with that. But, you know, some people act like Matt LaFleur's never won anything. You know, like, here's the funny thing. And this, because Paul says, well, what he did was have the pleasure of working with Aaron Rodgers and making Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers making him look great. Now he's got a less than Aaron Rodgers like quarterback, and he can't do anything with him. That's from Paul. Paul, then why didn't Aaron Rodgers win the year before? Remember, Mike McCarthy got fired during the season. It was a horrible season. The next year, Matt LaFleur comes in, takes over, builds a relationship with Aaron Rodgers. The offense begins to click. Next thing you know, 13-3. The year after that, 13-3. Why is it when the team plays well, it's the players, and when the team plays poorly, it's the coach? It's not like that all the time. Coaches do not design plays to be unsuccessful. Now, there's certain things and certain rhythms to play calling and such, and I have to agree with that. But everything can't be, if you're going to give all the credit to the players and all the credit to the coach for the loss, that you can't do that. You just simply can't do that, because you got to look at guys that have a missed tackle. You got to look at guys that have a dropped pass. You got to look at guys who don't run the right route, guys that don't execute perfectly. It's a combination thereof. What you can look at is play calling, clock management, stuff like that. Those are things that a coach has control over. But once the guys take the field, it's up to the X. You know, they always say it's not just the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. And do you have enough of those? And that is a saying for a reason.
The one thing I don't like about that line of thinking is people who think, people who don't like Aaron Rodgers say, well, Matt LaFleur had to deal with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And then the other half of the people's like, well, Matt LaFleur was carried by Aaron Rodgers. So which is it? Like, we can't just pick and choose how we view the job that Matt LaFleur did. Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, people go either way with that one. So I don't know. I think there's credence to both sides. He was helped early, but it was also probably a unique challenge that many first-time coaches can deal with.
Completely agree. It was a combination thereof. Completely agree. It's like if Jordan Love throws a great pass, then Jordan Love had his mechanics. It was underneath him, and man, what an arm and what a capability and what a read and what a catch. But if Jordan Love throws off kilter and it sails, it's Matt LaFleur's fault for not schooling him enough on the fundamentals. When we just saw the Hall of Famer do it 4 times, nonetheless, once for an interception last night in the game against the Chargers. So it's not all coaching, we'll say. By the way, did you hear Mike Tomlin after the game when he was asked how he would assess Aaron Rodgers' performance?
Yeah, I have the audio for it if you want it here. Very straightforward answer.
Yeah, this is Mike Tomlin last night after the game when they ended up losing to the Chargers in just an ugly, ugly game, offensively speaking. And Aaron Rodgers did not have a good game by any stretch of the imagination. He was sacked for a safety. He threw a pick. He just looked completely frustrated, throwing the ball into the ground angrily last night. Kind of the temperament that we've become accustomed to here in Green Bay. And last night, one of the reporters said, how would you assess Aaron Rodgers' performance? Here's what Mike Tomlin said.
How would you assess Aaron's performance tonight?
How would you? Next.
That's it. That's it. How would you? That's it. Next question.
Next.
Yeah, he wasn't going to say it. All he could have said was, we got work to do. But Mike Tomlin being Mike Tomlin.
Not an unfair question.
No, not at all. But how would you assess Aaron Rodgers' performance? How would you? So, not a great situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And
Rodgers looked old last night. Man.
Yeah,
wow.
They just brought pressure. They just pinned their ears back and said, "Go get him," and that was it. And he just did not look. He did not look good, not at all. And Aaron's looked pretty good this year. overall. I have to admit. And I kind of thought he would come back and have a little bit of a bounce back season. I kind of saw that coming, but last night, I don't know. Maybe the Packers, in quote, heating them up the way they did, maybe the Packers laid a blueprint, how you beat Aaron Rodgers and beat that staff, because short of DK Metcalf, which is kind of a constant go-to, they don't have a ton of guys as far as weaponry goes, offensively speaking. And they kept showing Arthur Smith on the sideline looking at the card in front of him, which at times when they looked at Arthur Smith last night, I kept thinking to myself, I wish I had like somebody sitting next to me. Does he look confused? Does Arthur Smith look confused? Like, I don't know. Let's try this. I can hear him in Aaron's ear. And then Aaron, being Aaron in the huddles back when Mike McCarthy was still calling the plays, he would look at the guys and he'd go, okay, Art's calling, X-Jet, whatever. And he goes, okay, F that. We're not going to run that. We're going to run this instead. And then Arthur Smith going, I don't know if that was what I called or not. I couldn't tell you. So that did not look like a good offensive performance in any way, shape, or form last night at all. Let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and we're going to get into we got to give a little props to the Badgers, right? Badgers get themselves a nice win, man. A win that really, let's be honest, I don't know anybody out there raising your hand that saw that coming this past weekend. I know Zach Heilprin did, and when I asked Zach about wins the rest of the season, he said none. I mean, he's very quick, none. And I said the same thing, none. Nothing on the docket. Maybe if they would have gotten Minnesota at the end of the year. Otherwise, none. And then damned if they didn't get a win. So kudos to the Badgers. This portion of the program brought to you by our buddy Dwayne, Duanes, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That's Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. Up in Wausau, Wisconsin, but it is worth the trip for whatever it happens to be, whether it's office furniture or if you've got measurements for an awning out in front of your business, you want to dress it up or you just want to put a new one up, or if you got a boat, upholstery, whatever it happens to be, he can do it and does it better than anybody. Now's the time. If you got a boat, now's the time to do it. Get a winterized, take it up, drop it off. Say, hey, can you just kind of keep this thing good for me and give me a new cover, give me a travel cover, give me a upholstery repair, whatever it is. Take your time. I'm not putting it on the water anytime soon. There you go. Fill up that parking lot. Call him, 715-870-2119, 715-870-2119. That's our buddy Dwayne at Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com. That is Dwayne's, D-U-A-N-E-S, Dwayne'sCoverItAll.com.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Phil Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Phil Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I can't say thank you enough to Chris for fighting the battle that he's fighting, and for Chancellor Mnuchin to listen and believe. Yes, there is a, not to say a relief. There is a spark, an energy, a hope, a vision that this week gave us.
Those are the words. Luke Fickell, after getting the vote of confidence from Chris McIntosh, and thus, I guess, stemming the tide a little bit and telling everybody inside the locker room at Camp Randall, just concentrating on getting a win. It's calm. Just go out and concentrate on getting a win. Your coach is going to be here. And damned if they didn't. They went out and defensively played really, really well, and offensively did just enough to get over the top and knock off the top 25 Washington Huskies. Nick Osen, the real Nick Osen, over on Twitter from 24/7 Sports, covering the Wisconsin Badgers, joining us on the hotline. Nick, how you doing, man?
Bill, I'm doing great. Good to catch up with you. I was looking forward to this, and obviously we got a little bit of a win to get into.
Yeah, I don't think I just remember last week talking about the remainder of the season, and it was going to be 4 straight losses, and then what were they going to do and throw more money at the situation? And I think it was surprising, the fact that they played that well. Defensively, they played that strong. Offensively, they get a little bit of a spark from a very young quarterback, and they pull off a win. Give me your thoughts coming out of this Washington game.
Yeah, Bill, I think there are a lot of them. I think first and foremost, and I've kind of written about this a little bit as well, the timing of McIntosh's statement last week, obviously with everything, I just kind of listened to your intro as well. I think that there was a little bit of sense of just going out and playing. There's a little bit less pressure on the guys. They're not having to kind of worry about, okay, what's the staff going to look like? How can we kind of show these guys who've got their backs? I do think guys are playing with their hair on fire a little bit, especially defensively. And then number two, Bill, obviously the offense, there's room to grow. We knew that. We've known that for a while. But that defense has been playing pretty good football 3 out of the last 4 weeks. And I think that those young freshman linebackers, obviously, when they're stacking performances like this, I think that they are really the next potential foundational pieces of that defense going forward, Bill.
That was one of the things I was going to bring up, because some of the young guys are starting to play well. These are the guys that Luke Fickell picked, and we all said that it's going to take a little while to get some of the really young guys, not just the transfer portal guys, but the young guys who were so highly touted that came into this system to really kind of get their feet under them, and you're starting to see it. Now, I don't want to get out over my skis like this is going to be all of a sudden some great team going into next season. But if you are looking at this team, and again, we're looking at it from a very skewed lens, where is this team right now? And I know you got to re-recruit and go into next season with the same talent or better, but where is this team right now in your thoughts?
Yeah, Bill, I think at least in the present time, look, going into this last month, I thought that you need to grab at least 1-2 wins would be great. Now I think that is very possible. Obviously, you got one under your belt. So I think in the short term, that's where the team is right now. And going forward, look, they're going to obviously have to use the transfer portal at some positions. They're going to need to focus on retaining. But when you see some of these 18, 19-year-olds that clearly believe in the staff, right? They were the ones that recruited them. They're showing a little bit of what they can do on Saturdays. I think you're going to see some potential and some positives really on both sides of the ball. Now, it's not going to equate to wins every single week, right? A lot of things still need to get ironed out. But that's kind of where my view is on this team and, frankly, the program going forward. I have said all year it hasn't been smooth sailing the whole time. There's certainly been disappointment, but the young guys have flashed. And I think that's kind of been what I've really hit on often with this coaching staff, that they did bring these guys in. I believe that there is talent. And now I think it's time for a lot of those guys to get their opportunities. I think a lot of the game, right, 30-40% of it was some of these first and second year players over the weekend, coupled with some great transfer additions and guys that have been around. It was a true team effort, Bill, and I think that is kind of replicable these last couple of weeks. Hopefully you see at least one more in the W column.
I know that they honored that team when Ohio State was in town, that Barry Alvarez Rose Bowl, back-to-back, all that. They honored that team. And it wasn't a great performance. They get shut out by Ohio State, and the rest is history. But the one thing I walked away from, I thought, damn, that defense, specifically the defensive front, they play hard. And they never gave up. Now, granted, it wasn't even close by the time the game, but the offense did nothing complimentary to help that defense out. As a matter of fact, I think it was late in maybe the third quarter by the time they actually made it across midfield. So there was nothing there offensively to write home about. But I kept thinking to myself, the defensive front and they're not quitting. They may be out-talented a little bit, but they're not quitting, and they're playing extremely hard. And had that been a closer game, they actually would have played pretty tough. So you could kind of see a few things to maybe hang your hat on if you were Luke Fickell and that staff and the fans and Chris McIntosh that day.
Bill, I think you're spot on. Even throughout what, like I said, has been a really, really disappointing year, and even as we have been critical at times, obviously I look at things optimistically in general, but the team has never quit. I mean, I can tell you that very, very confidently, like not just getting these availabilities, but obviously forming relationships over the years, right, with some of these players, the recruits, their families. The belief has still been there. And a lot of those things, I'd say 90-95% of those things have still been smooth. Has it always translated to the field? Not every single time, but it's starting to. And I want to just hit on the point, Bill, you mentioned about the defensive line. Coach E.J. Whitlow, I think, has really further earned himself a great reputation this fall. He kind of came in known as a developer. Now, they did hit the portal, so obviously they had to bring in kind of some different talent levels coming into the year. But even guys that were here last year, I think of a Brandon Lane or Dylan Johnson in some of his spurts, some of the young guys in the development that just we have heard. I think he's a name to really give some credit to on this defensive side of the ball. Obviously, Mike Tressel's had some really good game plans. And then Matt Mitchell. We just got to speak with Coach Fickell at his presser. Those outside linebackers have been pretty good the last couple of weeks as well, Bill.
Before I kind of switch over to some other things regarding the program, because I want to kind of follow up on what you just stated. The question was, should the fans be storming the field? To me, I don't. First of all, this was a win in which everybody exhaled. It was a top 25 win in which everybody exhaled. It was a Big Ten win in which everybody exhaled. I didn't have a problem with it. Did you?
I didn't at all, Bill. Honestly, I don't think that I expected it. I'll say that. But then as the game kind of went on and I thought about how the season's gone, the conditions, right? It was kind of the edge of a night game. People had been there. It was fairly cold, not freezing, but some snow coming down. And like you said, exhale is the perfect way to put it. I think just the emotional toll and weeks that the last few have taken for fans and even people within the program, those moments are kind of hard to come by, whether really, really good because the program's so good, storming isn't worth it, or obviously during tough stretches. I've got no issue with it. And I think that honestly, the team and the players and the coaches, they all ended up loving it as well.
So I want to go back to what you said about building the relationships and the guys have not quit. So if you get a chance to talk to these guys, their families, what have you, what is it that they believe in? Because you said they still have the belief. What is it they believe in?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. I think, frankly, it is a vision of kind of how Fickell and the staff have envisioned the program. I understand it hasn't all kind of gone according to plan, but I think they believe in what they've been told there. I also think that there's really a sense of loyalty that they have seen and that they feel towards Fickell and the staff, because they're told, okay, if you come in and work, you're going to get these opportunities. And I think that these young guys are seeing it. So I think there are some levels of loyalty and honesty that, hey, I can tell you firsthand, not every staff is going to be like that. Nobody's going to bat 1,000 with some of that accuracy. But from my understanding and building those relationships, they've been pretty accurate with the guys so far, Bill.
The only game that you would think would be winnable at this point would be what? The Minnesota game?
Yeah, Minnesota's your best chance, I think, for a lot of reasons. Now, if we weren't so kind of deep and looking at the QB depth chart, like I would say even maybe a shot against Illinois, it's certainly going to be tough to kind of build the passing stuff going forward and building off of that. But obviously a big challenge against Indiana. And then, yeah, you're looking for at least one in those last couple of games. I think that the guys are kind of bonding together. I think that this last weekend was huge. And I think if you're able to get a fourth, Phil, that would be really, really good. Obviously, you're falling short of a bye, so it's kind of basing those expectations off of where the season is now. But Illinois' defense has struggled. Minnesota, they're finding some ways to win these late games. But, yes, I think if you can get one more, that'd be really notable. And this will be a great challenge Saturday, right? It's going to test a lot of these young guys, specifically defensively. It's a really good team that the Hoosiers have, but I'll be really intrigued to see how they respond.
Do you think, I think there's two things that play into favor. One is the fact that the Hoosiers are coming off of a huge game down in Happy Valley. So maybe it's a letdown game and they're looking past Wisconsin. But as this game gets ready to transpire, is Cignetti the guy that ruined it for anybody coming in and not having success right away because of the way he's gone about it and the immediate success that he's had? Turning around an Indiana program, who Indiana and number 2 in the country have never gone together. Those sentences have never gone together.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great question, Bill. I find myself chuckling a little bit because a similar question was asked at today's press conference, about just the job that he's done and really that program has done. I mean, they've never been at these lengths, like you said. I think that it really depends on kind of the school's athletic departments and their administration, right? I think a lot of these schools are, maybe making coaching decisions and kind of cutting guys short a little bit faster. I think you're obviously seeing that this cycle, whereas there's a belief here from Chancellor and from AD McIntosh that, hey, maybe there can be some more time and success coming forward. So while I don't think it, it's fully kind of ruined that ideal, Bill, I will say it's made it tougher, I think, for people around to be patient just because of kind of the job that they've done, like you said, at a school that has traditionally been a basketball school and hasn't seen these levels of success.
For a real quick last question, for a young quarterback, I thought, granted, he didn't go out and throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, but I thought in certain moments running the football and picking up first downs and showing toughness and a little bit of spark and moxie, have they found the quarterback?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I believe they have. Bill, I think that, we're probably not going to hear an official decision until later in the week. It was asked about today. Sounds like things are still getting ironed out, but I believe so. And here's why. You talked about kind of some of that running ability and athleticism. And I can tell you that the guys really believe in young Carter Smith. I think to go out there in that moment, not be afraid, not turn the ball over, make a couple throws. Obviously, like you said, didn't throw for a ton, but just some of the reads and just frankly winning the game, right? And doing enough to do that, I think did instill a lot of confidence and belief specifically in the younger guys. So am I saying he's the guy starting automatically next year? I'm not ready for that. I think things will need to be developed, but going forward, I think you'll see a lot more at number 5 this month.
Great stuff. Nick, appreciate your time, man, and we'll talk again real soon as the season continues, okay?
I hope so, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, pal. There you go. Nick Osen, 24/7 Sports covering the Wisconsin Badgers. The real Nick Osen, Osen, over there on Twitter, on X. We're going to come back. We got more. Don't go anywhere. This portion of it brought to you by our friends at Potawatomi Gaming Sportsbook. 13 different restaurants. They got all kinds of good stuff going on over there, too. This is the time when if you're going to do the gift giving, it might be not a bad gift to send somebody that you like, you love, down to Potawatomi and let them just enjoy a lot of stuff under one roof. It's all kinds of good stuff. Music, the restaurants, the bars, the sports book, checking out games on that ginormous big screen TV, whatever it happens to be. It's all under one roof at paysbig.com. That is paysbig.com. That is Potawatomi. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Ready for the snap and a timeout taken. The team looks a little bit lost. Let's bring in Gina Della from Pella. What's the winning game plan this month?
Wayne, the winning play is simple. A whole house of new windows as low as $297 a month with 0% interest for up to 6 years.
Wow, that's a drive you can sustain for years. No penalties, no interest. A championship move from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
No doubt, Wayne. And unlike the opponent's defense, Pella Windows actually stopped the drafts.
The draft picks we gave up for number 1 had to be the steal of the century.
True, but I'm talking about replacing old drafty windows.
Roger that. With energy-efficient windows to keep the cold out, you'll stay as toasty as a pan at a warm weather preseason game.
Pay as low as $297 a month for a whole house of new Pella windows.
Don't sit on the sidelines, folks. Make your move today.
Schedule your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 11/30/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
A freighter carrying a crew of 29 disappeared on Lake Superior during a severe storm last night, and so far, no survivors have been found. The freighter, the Edmund Fitzgerald, was transporting iron ore when it ran into high winds and 25-foot waves.
50 years ago today, the Edmund Fitzgerald went down. One of the most, I guess, impactful wrecks, so to speak, that still lives legendary in so many different minds, specifically here in the Great Lakes area, but all around. I know the documentary was released, and a lot of people looking at all of that. But that was today, 75 years ago today, the Edmund Fitzgerald, November 10th, 1975, with all 29 crew members aboard. And the exact cause, they believe they know, but it still remains somewhat uncertain. They believe that the ship maybe hit a shoal, or the waves were so big that as the wave came down and the front of the ship came down, it hit the bottom and cracked the boat in half, and the hatchways popped, and that was pretty much it. But Gordon Lightfoot wrote the ballad of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald back in 1976. I think he won a Grammy for that. I could be mistaken, but I think he won an award for that, or that album was. But nevertheless, the Edmund Fitzgerald sank in Lake Superior during a storm on November 10th, which is 50 years ago today. So there you go. Coming out, for those of you on the live stream is going to be shutting down. You can check it out at Wisco Sports Zone. Grant's going to take you the rest of the way. I'm going to pack it up and get on the road as quick as I can to head to Lambeau Field. Lambeau Field is going to be the scene tonight. Monday Night Football as the Green Bay Packers get ready to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, tonight, Packers, Eagles. And the Packers have not beaten the Eagles in the last 3 attempts, twice last year. They also try to orchestrate the banning of the tush push. It is going to be a hell of a game tonight. Packers coming off of an ugly loss to the Carolina Panthers. The Eagles had a couple of weeks to get ready for this one, 15 days, as they're coming off of their bye week to get ready for tonight's contest. Weather shouldn't really play too much of a factor other than it being cold. And it should be a good one on what is now probably freezing and or frozen tundra up in Green Bay. So looking forward to that. Mike Clemens coming up in the next hour, correct, Grant?
Yes, sir. 1:30.
1:30. Mike Clemens is going to join you. So that's going to do it for me. But Grant is going to take you the rest of the way. Another hour of the Bill Michaels Show. Don't go anywhere. Got a whole lot more coming up right after this.